You want a piece of me, boy?
Nuclear launch detected.
And welcome back for the lower bracket of Group Poland. And Funka is here with us.
Hey.
We let him back in.
You guys miss me? Did you guys miss me?
I did miss you.
Ah, thank you. I thought you would leave me alone on this one.
No.
Just to keep on cringing a little bit more. You know, it's like, he comes in, it's like, oh.
Never leave you hanging,
Thank
Funka.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm super happy. Sorry I wasn't there earlier, but I'm pretty sure you guys did an amazing job with the first match. And now we get to see the second one. Right?
It's going to be Ukraine against Brazil.
Yes. Kind of a star players here, you know, Kelzer and Bly. I talked about that, but some solid performing, some solid supporting lineups. There we go.
Yeah.
That'll also give a couple of good games. I think Turkey Dano is looking for that revenge, or you know, show that he can actually do a cannon rush just as good as the Most Zero. Actually, he kind of showed us a good cannon rush.
Yeah.
You know, all these prinesses. They want to come back. They want to show their games.
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, we've seen yesterday that they had their best players in a really good shape, right? So between Bly that did pretty good against Poland, and obviously Kelazur doing super well against Cyril especially. So I think we've got you know, the battle of those two, but also, as you said, not too bad of a supporting lineup for those two teams. So it could be quite tense, could be quite tough to call, I think.
Great.
Yes.
Let's check the Ukrainian lineup to begin with.
I really feel like we're going to be able to tell a lot from the first time we see the two players we're talking about, Bly and Kelazur, because sometimes these guys can have some off days. Bly, I think especially. But of course, here's the Ukraine lineup. Bly, Kas, Tamaga. Old school names, all of them old school actually, all of them in all 5 Nation Wars.
Yeah, well, you know, super old school players from Ukraine, Kas, Dimaga. It was really nice to see them play yesterday, but they didn't have the greatest of showings. Obviously, they were against a really strong team, so it really relies on the shoulders of Bly. But we can expect some decent games from Kas, from Dimaga. It depends, like if they prepared enough for this matchup, if they know a lot about the Brazilian player they will have to face. Also, like if you leave Kas alone, then suddenly he can be quite the macro machine and just throw units at you, even though he's not at the perfect micro level. He does have this this pretty amazing macro. Dimaga on the flip side, don't know that much about his current level, but he still plays quite a bit. So it's just Bly plus 2 old school stars from Ukraine, and they can do something against the B teamers of Brazil, but I don't think they can take a game from Kelazur.
It would be really tough. I actually think that if Kelazur is having maybe an off day, even just like a slight little bit, that a TVT could throw him off. I think Kas would be the type of guy to actually really excel in a TVT that is a different meta than just Marine Tank.
Yeah.
So that could be an interesting thing to focus on. But yeah, Dimaga, I'm sad to say this, you know, being Dimaga fan like long time ago, just his TVZ would not be as good as Bly's. So, of course, here's the Brazilian lineup.
Sadly for Dimaga, you're not measured on how good of a human being you are, but more on how good you are at StarCraft. And these days, maybe a better human being than a StarCraft 2 player, but we'll see. We'll see what he can do. And obviously, there is, well, for those two, I think they can take a game from even like Eric. Maybe Eric is a little bit tougher, but it can happen. I can see them win a game against Eric. Definitely against Turkey Dano. Depends if he maybe refined a little bit his cannon rushes and stuff like that, because what he showed yesterday wasn't really on point. It was expected also. Like Zugaliang said it in the interview. He said that he knew that Turkey Dano would play like this. He expected the build, did the perfect counter, and obviously it doesn't really look good for the guy that's all-inning, but of course, all eyes on Kelazur. This guy playing amazingly well, showed amazing stuff in TVZ. So obviously he played against Cyril, which is basically the best Zerg we have outside of Korea right now. Also a fairly standard and macro-oriented player, so playing against Bly is not exactly the same thing. But I think Kelazur knows, he knows about the tricks of Bly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not enough, but...
I actually think that Kelazur might even feel a little more at ease in a weird way. Like, obviously, you got to be scared of X, Y, Z, W, B, whatever that Bly can do. But he is not just the mechanics machine that makes you really hesitant to do what you're best at, which for him, I would say, is aggressive bio. Like, I think he could actually just play like his normal game against Bly with, of course, needing any warning signs of a rush or something like that. Whereas, you know, for Cyril, he kind of, I almost felt like he had to go for that mech, Hellbat thing. And
he had to play amazingly to just, you know, keep him in check, right?
Yeah.
Against Bly, it's just a matter of, do I die in the, you know, early stages of the game? Is this a 10-minute game? I think, like, really, if you're Calazur, you look at the in-game clock and you're like, okay, 10 minutes have passed. I think I should be okay. Like, at least that's how I see it.
Kind of, yeah. Well, I mean, he did have ultras at like 10 minutes in that game versus Soul.
That's
so
kind of
like,
scary to think about.
Maybe that's still just as scary. I don't know. But now that's going to be the interesting one. I kind of had a giggle, though, thinking of what could happen if Turkey Dano versus Bly happened. Like, I mean, I feel like Bly would just be better off just, like, receiving the counter rush and dealing with, like, a normal Zerg, but what if he wants to be, like, cheeky into a proxy hatch to the guy?
I actually said that the world might explode if it happened. Turkey Dano versus Bly, it'd be quite dangerous, I think.
Okay, well, let's check out our predictions for this series.
What did you guys say?
Everyone said Brazil.
It's like the first series. We all said for 3, you said for 2, you were right. Maybe you're going to be right again, or maybe Ukraine is going to make it.
Interesting. Interesting.
But we all expect a close series here, and even if like all the players are good, the most interesting matchup is going to be Bly against Calazur.
I think so, even though I give the TVT maybe a little more credit than other people. But yeah, that should be the interesting one. I wonder who's going to be sent out first, of course. I didn't take a look at the maps, darn it.
I think Ajin knows about all the maps.
The first map is Acid Plant.
Oh.
So what does it mean?
Well, we can ask the captain.
It's a lot of pressure on me right now.
I put you on the spot right there when you saved me earlier at the beginning of the second series. I'm such a bad co-host. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Let's ask our captains here, who is their starting player. Hello, guys. Hello, Bly. Hello, Calazur.
Hello.
How are you today?
Hello. We're good.
Okay, I want to start with Bly here. Yesterday, to your first interview with Poland, you seemed like really, really confident. And so how did you feel after the game?
I messed up a bit, and we failed because of this, I feel. I shouldn't lose to Mana in game 2, and then it would be a different story because of some updates and stuff, but we managed to lose eventually by my last map versus a laser, where I was a bit sad about losing it because, like, my strategy was a perfect pick for this map, for like his counter and stuff, and if I would be able to, like, maybe if it would be on EU server, it would be different for me because I would snipe the banelings and transfuse the Nidus and win the game, but it is how it is.
And yesterday, Calazur took a map to Serral, and the last game was quite close. So how did you feel after watching this game? Still Bly, yeah.
I feel like Serral messed up a lot in the games versus Calazur since the last one. Like, he was playing really solid in the first map on a Catalyst, and on Neon, he was really solid again. Like, he was playing like really good, and I felt like Calazur is like cannot win this game. But then this push somehow it worked, and Calazur made some miracles happen, and I was like, good job. But eventually, Serral was just Serral. Somehow he managed to win the game on his match.
It was amazing.
So overall, I feel like Calazur shape is really good right now. In comparison, like for a few months ago, he's playing way better than before. But I still feel that it doesn't matter how good you play when you play versus me. You just couldn't flip.
Actually, kind of on that topic, I gotta ask before we get into today's match, like that game versus Soul with the Ultras, man, like how often does that actually happen? How often does that follow-up work? I didn't think that I could win this game, actually. Yeah, okay.
Like, after I failed Nidus, I was like, yo, what follow-up should I make? Mass Roach all-in, 1-1 plus Roach, 1 Mass Roach all-in, a Roach Burrow all-in, just fast Ultras, another Nidus, and I was like, let's just play and see how it will go on. And then somehow I managed to just split him apart, and some blinks here, some nidus here, some ultras here, and
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't even know like how I managed to win this game. I was so far behind.
Okay. It's good to know that you were kind of as confused as we were. But looking at
What an
today,
amazing
But it's fun.
range.
It's fun.
It was
it's
an
incredibly
amazing
It's
game.
fun
man.
to play the games like this.
yeah. But looking at today's match, I guess swapping over to Kelazur, you know, you saw those games. Now you're up against the trickster that is Bly. Does this type of answer like scare you, where you're like, oh gosh, Bly can really just make anything work, or are you just like, nah, I know all his tricks?
Well, I try to not to underestimate any of my opponents. So I think Bly is very good. Many have made a mistake of not preparing for him, but I'm prepared, and I think we'll be all right.
Okay, so you two guys are both captains, but also well, the best players in your respective teams. But how would you say the rest of your team fares against the rest of the other team? Like for instance, for Brazil, what do you think, Diego? What do you think the rest of your team can do against Ukraine? Like, is this only your job to take the win, or you can see your teammates do fairly well against the other members of Team Ukraine?
I think with Eric especially, I think our other players are on par with Ukraine's other players. So I think it's going to be interesting because I feel like Bly and I are like the big boss, and we have like two little henchmen which are going to fight the other henchmen while the boss fights it out. But who knows, you know, maybe our henchman is strong enough to take out the boss, so we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
Okay, the exact same
I feel
answer.
like they might take the bus, you know. On a good day, some win streak happened, and eventually, Kelazur is down to Castle Dimaga.
Okay.
I will be happy with it.
Okay, who do you think has the best chance between Cass or Dimaga? Who do you have most faith in to take down Kelazur?
Kelazur, I feel like TVT.
Okay.
Castle.
Interesting. Hey, you were on point, Jess. She expected that as well.
Totally.
All right. I think, did you have anything else, or should
Well, we
ask?
can ask the same question for Kelazur, like Eric or Turkey Dino to take a game to Bly.
Who's the one?
I think Turkey Dano will take a game off.
Oh, really?
Ooh, very excited for this kind of round.
Cannon Rush. Bly
Look at
looks
Bly's face. All right.
All right, well, thank you for the interview.
Okay.
Do you want to add a last word, like, to the opponent or for your fans?
And starting player.
Yeah, we have to ask you for the starting player, of course. Okay, Bly, go first.
Bly. Yeah.
Okay, starting player is Dimaga. And Team Ukraine is in the loser bracket, but we are not down yet. We will fight our back to the playoffs, and I'm sure we can manage to beat Poland in the next match after we will beat Brazil.
Okay, well, good luck. And for Brazil?
Our starting player is going to be Turkey Dano, and just watch out because you shouldn't be thinking about the next match yet. And for all the fans watching, tamo junto, galera. Força na peruca aí. Bora levar o Brasil para o próximo round. And that's all. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks for the interview
Thank you,
and
guys.
good luck for your next games.
All right. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like, you know, the easy answer from Kelazur. It's like, don't think about the next match yet. You
That
know?
was smooth.
That was smooth as hell.
Yeah.
So now we know the starting players for both of the teams.
boy.
It's going to be Dimaga against Turkey Dano, ZVP. Are we going to see Cannon Rush again?
I got a figure, but we are on Acid Plant as well. So I'm trying to think of like, all right, where's the best place to put your cannons?
Well, apparently he likes to put the robo like super far away. So
Yeah,
there's
I feel like-
space in this map for him to do that.
I feel like he's gonna. I mean, I hope he's gonna change it. It feels like that only works if your opponent really has no idea what they're up against. Otherwise, you have to get the hatchery kill. But maybe we shouldn't jump to a conclusion of Cannon Rush yet. But I think it's a fair assumption. Here we are with the pitch results.
If it's a gateway Nexus, I'd be
What's
super
even the point
sad.
anymore?
Yeah, what's the point? Like, why are we casting those games? No, actually, Tokidano is supposed to be a super cheesy player, but we'll see what he decides to do.
And the viewers are slightly in favor of Brazil.
That makes sense. Brazilian fans, but also just, yeah, Kalazur was the only one to take down Cyril so far, so...
Maybe the only one to do it in the entire tournament. Imagine.
That'd be
How
possible.
crazy
That'd be very impressive.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
We're not there yet.
No, we're actually quite far away still. This is even in the last group.
Yeah.
Our group's going to be super exciting as well. Interested to hear the last guy's thoughts on that. It's like really hoping they were that excited about USA, and they were like, oh, wait, Netherlands. I was like,
Damn it.
got the blessing.
Nip can do it. I believe in USA.
I think that he can. But of course, first we have to do this match. And of course, it's going to be fun.
And here we go for Dimaga, Tokidano on Acid Plant.
All right. First game of this best of 7. Transition to the map.
So
Any second now.
Oh.
We'll know the... Who do you expect to be the second nation to qualify from this group?
Well, you know, originally I said Poland. And maybe I'll still say Poland.
But like knowing that, so it's going to be played like maybe in less than 2 hours. It's going to be really late in Korea. And Laser is actually currently in Korea, and it was a bit ill yesterday.
I don't know. Because I feel like, you know, if Kalazur really is the only person they're worried about, and that might be the case, it's like they got a Protoss to take him out with something a little bit shenaniganery, and then when you have a Terran, a TVT, actually, I think that Soul would finally be able to get like his time to shine on Nation Wars if he switches matchups and maybe gets rid of Eastwatch. So, no, I don't think that the a Laser actually being even a little bit weaker is too much of a problem.
I don't know. Like, on paper, I'd still favor Poland, and I went for a prediction earlier when the groups were released, and I did say that Poland would be qualified in this group. Now, I really like Kalazur's play. I like just in general how confident he sounds, and I think he showed like a lot of variance in his play and some ability to play mech that we didn't know about before. Well, we knew he could do it, but we didn't know he had a tendency to do it against those tough opponents. So it's just like I'd still go for Poland, and I'll really think, like, considering how good Kalazur plays or doesn't play right now in this match, I think is gonna, you know, affect my prediction of the next match.
I mean, first of all, it could be that Bly is on fire today, so we're just giving, you know, Brazil too much credit against Poland here to even be in that situation. But if Kalazur is playing well and he does take out Ukraine, I really think that he could do very well against Poland. But he just has such a... It's a much more concerning team overall than it was for Finland. Well,
you know, on paper, like, I know a lot of people said that Group USA was the best group or the group of death. And I still think it is. But I think there's an argument for this one as well, because I do think that on paper, you've got like 3 really strong teams, and then the potential, question mark of Ukraine. But both Brazil and Ukraine have that, cheeky potential, and especially with Brazil, with Kalazur playing that well. And then you've got Poland, that was finalist last season. And then you've got Finland, that could very well take the tournament because of how good Cyril is these days. So I really thought that, Group C, Group D, so Group Finland, I guess, and Group USA, this group and the group of tomorrow are both super, super tough to call. So now seeing how Kalazur plays, I think it's still up in the air. Like, Ukraine could potentially upset against Brazil, and then you've got another game against Poland, or even Brazil against Poland is a decent match to analyze. So it's a cool group, and I'm actually quite psyched that we don't know yet that's what's gonna happen.
It's true. It's going to be really exciting and close games. And here we go for Dimaga against Tokidano.
Oh boy. We are on Acid Plant for game number 1. And in the top left, as the red Protoss for Brazil, he is Tokidano. Oh, it's gotta be. I mean, why would you put a pylon up there?
Pylon on the high ground, Forge as a follow-up. Nice. In the bottom right, he is the blue Zerg player representing Ukraine, is Dimaga.
On for a pull first. He's going to have access to Lings a little bit faster. His Overlord should have gone into the most obvious location for a pylon to be put down, which it is not so much the scariness of the cannon rush anymore. is the surprise factor, although that is certainly something to attribute when you face someone on ladder you don't know. It's really about, you know, how well do they control it, how clever is the build beyond it. So exactly what I'm talking about here, like, you know, can you SimCity with your probe? Can you keep a probe alive? Because back in the day, it really was just like you nip the cannon rush in the bud, well, that's just game over. But he does it again.
Turkey Dano has the sweetest moves with the probes we've ever seen, with the double probe here. And all those drones have been pulled from the mineral line. And yes, the cannon will be accessible before how many drones? Just the one. And this cannon is about to be finished. So with the 8 Zerglings that are coming, there might be a potential for Dimaga to hold it, but he already lost so much economy, so much minerals because of those drones being pulled.
Yeah, and it's going to be a full wall-off. So even though he was trying to buy time for the Lings and maybe get some shots off, because then if the Lings die, it's worth if it's the last cannon available. Not actually the case. We did have Turkey Dano lose that one probe, which I thought was a little unnecessary. It always feels a little bit nicer, more relief when you have 2 probes to you know, maybe one dies eventually, but oh well. Why a dub? No.
What?
Is he so
I mean, the gateway, the first gateway has been cancelled. He can't build a cyber core.
Sure, but why not just another gateway?
Yes. Well, you know, the transition of Turkey Dano is quite obvious now. It's going to be double upgrades, charge zealots. I'm pretty sure.
Are you sure?
No,
yeah, okay.
It's not going to happen, though. But, yeah, interesting decision. Okay, he's just,
okay.
you know, waiting a little bit to get that cyber core going. But at least Agudo Turkey Dano is here with his cannon rush. He's got a proxy gateway, 4 pylons to hold the front, and Dimaga is on 1 base. It's just, you know,
but
not a good spot to be in.
It is important that that gateway did have to be canceled, I think. I mean, at first it was just like, oh, it's SimCity for the cannons, but clearly the cannons aren't even going to kill anything. There's nothing of the natural. And it's more of a question now of like, well, how long was it? It was like 20, 30 seconds in. I don't know the exact time, but it's contributing to the export being later, which is contributing to the Adept, which is contributing to the Immortals. And he does want the Immortals ready to go before the Ravagers come into play, but they're already almost here, Funko.
Yes, so and that's a problem.
Yeah, he's going to have to definitely buy more time instead of a bit more of a cannon shield battery contain.
Okay, already 2 Ravagers are out. The first Adept just finished. Should be using the Shade right now, and we'll get to see at least a Cocoon. The 2 other Ravagers have been hidden, but they've been seen just at the end of it. So now he knows. And that Robo may be in a pretty exposed position, but he still has, what, like 2 cannons in the front. Now he's got a shield battery, with which he will repair the cannon, which is also kind of good. So he will gain a lot of time thanks to this.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of how fast can Dimaga break this contain as the Immortal is being produced.
This is already good that he gets a cannon down. And, I mean, there are more shield batteries on the way, but the Immortal still has to be chronoed out here. And the Ravagers don't even take the extra damage from it, so it's still doable with 1 Immortal. You get any higher, and I really think this contain is going to be too hard to break. And we guys are talking about the laser game and how a laser was able to deal with it just by getting a drone out and building a hatchery, which is no longer possible for Dimaga.
All right, the Stalkers doing their job here, taking a little bit of damage on those Ravagers. For now, it's the Adept that has been you know, that has been targeted down, but the shield batteries are doing so much work, and the Immortal is already out. But we're looking at an Immortal that can't really go through.
He can snipe that probe.
Whoa.
The shield batteries might go down, though, if he's not able to buy more time to build more for the shield batteries. Shield batteries on shield batteries.
Who batteries the shield battery is the question.
Yeah.
Who shields the shield battery, I should have said.
With the Immortals, Hardened Shield still available, so it shouldn't be going down anytime soon. It is kind of providing that barrier, so the Corrosive Bios would love to reach back there to kill the 2 shield batteries are getting low. They're not willing to risk it. Now with 2 Ravagers kind of low in health.
Okay. What about, more Stalkers? That's what I expected as well from Turkey Dano. He's got a little bit of money in the bank. Can't really spend it, though. Does he have Warp Gate? I think he never started Warp Gate, right? Yeah, he never went for it. So it's just Stalkers coming out straight from the gateway. So now we're looking at 2 Stalkers and 2 Immortals. You need to move, though. You need to dodge most of the bile. But you know what? There's a Prism coming. And with a Prism, I think the potential of micro moves is quite amazing on the side of Protoss, I've heard.
Yes.
So if Turkey Dano has the decent micro, he adds a robotic spay right on top of this. He's got how many? 7 batteries? I can't believe. This is so disgusting.
So I'm glad to see that Damaga finally adds in a couple lings. Just on the off chance they soak the Immortal shots, it's really worth it. Fortunately, loses the Overlord now. But the Disruptors could have been a problem if we had seen them. There's a bus attempting to be had here. Damaga, is it going to really work? He's lost the Ling fodder. It's all Ravagers really now.
Yeah,
but the shield batteries are dry.
Yeah, the shield batteries, the two on the top, they do have a little bit of energy left. And for now, the dodge on the Corrosive Pile is pretty okay. One Queen in low health. It's going to be taken down in a few seconds, but this Prism Micro is just something that you can't deal with as a Zerg player with only Ravagers, and it's starting to work.
I think he should have backed off a while ago with extra
Yes.
2 Ravagers, at least, and then maybe tried to kill the Robo.
Ooh.
Oh, that got a little too close. But if he had been able to focus the Robo, of course, Shield Batters won't automatically heal the non-defensive units, and they're dry. And there might have been a chance there to stop the Disruptor, and it is a Disruptor, not a Colossus, from coming out. Now it's no longer possible.
Ooh. Immortal getting the last shot on that Ravager. The Roaches, they are just useless in this fight. Way too much damage output on the side of Protoss with triple Immortal, and obviously the Micro in the Prism is perfect on the side of Turkey Dano, at least on the Immortals. Okay, I said it, and now Caster's Curse loses an Immortal to a Corrosive Pile, but I do believe it's not gonna even matter. Like, there is no units that can take this down as Zerg in the early game like this when he has only one base economy. GG! Turkey Dano takes game 1 to Damaga. That's 1-0 in favor of Brazil.
All right, not expected, to be honest. Even though we know Damaga, he's not the name he used to be. Maybe he doesn't play as often either. Has a couple of, more break times. You would still think that he does fine against this guy that we just don't know much about, right? But cannon rushes have evolved. Okay, and there really is a trick to that is different than it was years ago to actually killing them, which Damaga didn't quite know. I don't think a laser knew either. I think a laser just played such a wild game that it ended up confusing his opponent a little bit. Because even his opponent, admitted that he thought he was in the lead. So really, the only person that's showed an excellent defense against this was Zigliang.
Yeah,
so
we knew. We knew about the build, knew how to defend it. So interestingly enough, this build, like the transition that Turkey Dano went for, it's quite known for our French viewers because we've got a guy. It's called Creepcell. He's really good with this. And he actually showed me that build a couple of months back. And I do think it has a lot of potential because as you've seen, even if the defense, the early game defense was maybe questionable on the side of Damaga, it did get, the gateway to be cancelled, which was, in general, a good thing for him because it made the build so much more slower. So obviously it worked, but it also cost him a lot of economy.
Yeah.
But just in general, I'd say it's a really good build. It is really good. You got Immortals and Prism in the early game against Zerg. What else can you ask?
You know what's really tricky, though, about this, and I know this because I'm pretty sure Prinav just says it on stream, I think he's even said it to me, is that a great way to deal with this is actually just to send out a Terran, and it's really difficult to accomplish the same thing against Terran. It works well in PvP, I think, and in PvZ, obviously, that's where we see it the most. But if Chaos is thrown out here, then as long as you you get the wall up and you don't do something really stupid, which, hey, it happens, anyone, right? It should be even easy for a Terran to hold. Where if Bly comes out, I'm sure he has other ideas as to how to fix this, but it's not 100% unless he's faced it before.
But the thing is, Bly might be the inventor of this build. We just don't know it. He very well might be, but he would have a better defense, I think, against that build order. We've got some more tweets coming. Good job on the screenshot on this one. It was perfect timing for the facepalm on Cyril here. Oh, good.
I feel like there's a couple of boxing gifts I can think of that really summed up Cyril's performance, but let's talk about that later. Of course, Emil's still cheering for Poland, even though they did get sent down to the decider match. They could still make it out. Yeah,
and Emil is, enjoying his time, casting Poland right there with an amazing red beard now. I like it. I think you should keep it, Emil.
Keep it forever.
If you're listening to us, just keep the red beard. Looks good on you.
As someone who has had her hair actually bleached, but dyeing is not too different. Point is, it's really, really time consuming. It sucks.
To do that?
Hate it. Yeah. Yeah, even if you do it at home, and it's all gets messy, and you gotta wear a schmuck.
Yeah, no, it's tough.
But
it's tough.
It looks good on you, Emil. Maybe you should.
We'll see the new player in 14 seconds. 40 seconds between either Bly or Cass. I think sending Cass is a little bit dangerous, but what do you really expect of Cass either in the next map? So it's like,
I'm not even, because I'm not even sure that it's dangerous. Like, there is a chance any Terran messes up against a cannon rush. Usually it's because they don't expect it. They're like, oh, pesky probe. Oh, no, wait, there's pylons. But now that he expects it, I mean, hopefully he's dealt with it a couple times before, a typical cannon rush that is, because he doesn't get much more atypical, I feel. Well, that's not entirely true. They still need to do the cannon rush portion. And if you can just stop that, you can stop it from reaching your main, then dealing with the follow-up shield battery, Immortal, or Stargate shenanigans is, I think, more doable for a Terran.
You go double depot right away, you know, like barracks, double depot. It's like, no. I know the only thing you can do is a cannon rush, so I'm going to be prepared against that. But it's just like, I don't want to talk you down to that much, but I've seen, 3 cannon rushes in a row with the Robo transition, but you only played PvZ, right?
Right, yeah.
So it's like, what does he have in store for us in the PvT matchup on Blackpink? Is there something else that he wants to go for? You know, like super cheesy all-ins. Some days, these days, screams Void Rays and shield batteries. Does he have that in store as well? Does he have something different? So another build? Another cheesy strategy?
Yeah, that is the question. I do think it'll be a Stargate again, though, so... We just have to wait and see a couple minutes. In the bottom left, surprisingly taking the first win for Brazil. It is the Red Protoss, Turkidano.
And in the top right, representing Ukraine, down 1-0 at the moment, he is Cass.
Yeah, I think you do. If you're going to cannon rush a Terran, you do follow up with the Stargate. It just is, there's other ways to do the Stargate build other than cannon rushing, and I kind of hope this is a good sign that that's what he's going to do. The cannon rush, if you know how to defend it first and foremost, then following up is just so hard against a Terran player. But if you do the old-fashioned way to do it, well, actually, he's not doing that either. So we're just going to stop talking about Void Ray all-ins because he's clearly doing something else here.
See? Super early second depot.
Nice.
I was super worried about it.
Of course.
I like it. I like it from Cass. It's not going to help him in this game, but I like that he has that, you know, that idea in mind, which is, I'm not going to die to any of your shenanigans.
I do wish that he had sent an SCV out, though, while doing that. Just to, like, you know, because he will go for the command center. It's good that he's playing a normal game, because he should, but he also could have seen that it's a proxy pylon this early. So there's going to be gateways, though. Like, I assume it's going to be some type of even more severe follow-up. Robo, probably?
I expect Robo as well.
Yeah, those can be tricky to deal with, but I would say that it's actually more tricky to deal with, like, double Robo proxy. Which, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. So, of course, the command center goes down on location. If the SCV had gotten the faster scout, this might not have been the case. And this is where it gets a little tricky, because units will start popping out here and either shading or stalking across the map.
You need a bunker right away.
Yes,
as you see this, he's like, okay, I need a gate, I need a bunker. Does he have this
he wants to fight
idea in mind? That you even pull the SCV from the CC, I believe, to go for the bunker. Oh, he will go for a bunker up the ramp, but the stalkers will be there earlier. So that means it might be a cancelled CC.
I think he is going to lose the CC, you know, especially because he went for a reactor instead of more Marines. So, I mean, obviously he gets more Marines now, but that big delay is exactly when the stalkers come in, so it gets a little complicated.
If you don't pull an amazing amount of SCVs right there, that's a cancelled CC, which puts Cass in a terrible spot because he has a bunker defensively, which cost him a little bit of minerals right there. Only a factory. It's going to be tough for him to scrap the money to get a Stargate going. Like, it just goes... well, it's the reason you go for the bunker on the low ground against that strategy. But it was, I guess it was quite tough to make, like, instantly make the call that it was that was happening. But at the same time, if you're willing to put down a bunker up your ramp, then just do it, you know, do it on the bottom. It's
so hard to put it on the bottom, though, especially with the Reaper not buying time because he didn't make a Reaper. So I just really wish that he had gotten the SCV Scout. Now, the game is still playable with the canceled command center. It just would have been a little bit nicer with a couple mules being dropped instead of just one. And now we do have the follow-up going into actually the Stargate. If Koss is able to get the SCV Scout and then not, you know, get the reactor, get the bunker really fast, hold the low ground, this is all coming to, then this whole setup can't happen. It happens in a much more awkward position around the third, and it's a more manageable game as you try and keep the high ground. But now, like this, just on one base and keeping the high ground, you might still lose out in the macro game. Well, I should say the longer game, because this is clearly not going to be too macro-oriented.
And it's going to be super easy for Takidano, if he does have the key binded on his keyboard, to drop down a Nexus at some point. So we'll see. If he has the ability to drop a Nexus, he can still make it happen. But for now, just going to contain his opponent. On the bright side, Cass is probably the player that played against the most Protoss all-ins in the entire planet. Because you have to remember, Cass is like playing probably between 1,500 to 2,000 games a season, you know. And he plays a pretty greedy style of Terran. So he got all-in quite a bit in his career.
Yeah.
This is a new style of all-in with the shield batteries now. And for now, Cyclone is going to try and deal some damage to the Viking. As you can see, it's like due to the Void Ray. As you can see, it's not dealing any damage.
So this is really important. Like, I feel like most Terrans lose out to this because they're not very quick about it. You know, first the probe comes in for harassment, then the command center's canceled, then they're like, wait, what, huh? And then they don't get to the Viking fast enough. And the Viking, it really is the key component here. You saw Innovation even go for double starport to get 2 Vikings at a time. This is risky because obviously the reactor could be killed with the Void Rays when there's especially like 3 of them, or even just 2. Look at that. And you do want as much of many Vikings as possible because of their range. They will outrange the Void Rays as long as you micro them. Oh no.
Okay, does he cost him a Void Ray? Not even. So the first Viking goes out, gets sniped right away. And yeah, you said it. This starport is in an awkward position, and it's really tough for Cass to keep on building those Vikings. He needed it a little bit further down to avoid being abused like this by the range on the Void Ray. Now you need to micro perfectly as well, because as the Void Ray will touch a Viking, they will never let go. That's the thing. That's the leashy attack that Void Ray has. Ooh, even the Cyclone gets demolished here.
By Cyclone. So what is nice is that I think that reactor he's building on the barracks is for the starport, or at least I feel it should be, because the Void Rays still are the main problem here. Even as the Stalkers kind of poke up, they're just not breaking that many bunkers with 2 tanks. So that's exactly what it is, and he will have the bunkers now to hold and buy time as he starts producing 2 Vikings at a time.
At the same time, Nexus finished on the side of Takidano, and the transition into Fleet Beacon. He even does it on the actual location of the contain, which is kind of cute. Could have done it at the opposite side of the map, but no, he wants to show it. Can he get the Void Ray?
He's so supply blocked. Oh, this is so painful. I say cancel the tank.
Cancel.
He's not. No. Oh, that's so painful. He's not able to supply people. Oh my god, he took so long to notice. Oh, that is actually kind of huge. Because the Tempest timing is really important compared to the Vikings.
That's also one of Cass's, you know, like, old school strategy is dropping supply depots from the air. And he loves that. He loves that. If you look at a couple of games of Cass, he tends to use that supply drop quite a bit. But it's still, as you said, a little bit tough for our Ukrainian player as he gets, more and more contained, has to move his buildings around for the tanks to move slightly closer to this contain and the shield batteries as the first Tempest is being built. He goes for the second target right away. Finally, a Void Ray dies.
Yeah, what of mine was not totally anticipated, I suppose. He gets the tank, though, at the very least. There's still another one. I mean, it's not about the break. It is about buying time for your Tempest now, but the Viking count now being reactored out, it's like, it really is a question mark, because you need... One Tempest is scary with its range, but not if you're being broken at the same time, because the Viking count can take them on if they're not covered by the shield batteries and the Stalkers.
That's the thing.
They still are.
How many Vikings are we looking at right now? 6? 6 Vikings, soon to be 8. Void Ray will be taken down. That's a good catch right there for Cass. The tanks, they need to move closer once again to put pressure on the shield batteries, I believe. That'd be quite smart, as we have 2 mines as well on the ramp. I like it a lot, but soon it's going to be 3 Tempest, and that's a different ballgame, because the damage, it will rack up really fast.
I feel like Cass has just not done this fast enough. Even Innovation, you know, you saw that it was still kind of close with the Tempest popping out, but he'd already been destroying the shield batteries, which was the really huge part. Shield battery's still up here, but almost out of juice. It's actually just getting out DPS'd here as the Void Rays finally all go down.
And also, multiple batteries can't really repair the same unit, right? So, so that's one of the issue here, is that Cass has a lot of Vikings, and the damage output is a little bit bigger than the repair potential of the shield batteries. So now we see a Tempest that takes a lot of damage. The mine on the ramp just connected with a couple of units. I believe a Stalker just died. And Turkey Downo now builds a carrier. What a crazy man.
Yeah. He does need to be a little bit careful. I guess something we didn't really note is that Stim is done and combat shields are on the way. And
Cass has 8 Marines.
Oh, does he really have 8 Marines? Oh, I thought he had 12 or 16. Well,
17.
Oh, yeah.
I'm being mean. I'm being mean.
It's like he tricked me. So that's actually enough that could help, certainly, if they stim down the ramp. If the carrier count grows, it's a little bit more questionable, but I think our observer is trying to show us that, of course, the upgrade for the carriers has not been researched. It would be quite the investment, too.
I would like to see Turkey Downo try and maybe switch strategies, well, at least transition. We see a Forge, we see an Oracle that will be super helpful in this one. So I like that decision from him. He's just producing Marine 1 by 1, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
he has 1 barracks with a tech lab and he's building Marines.
Yeah, the count's impressive for considering it was only up for 1 barracks.
Yes.
So. Now, obviously, Turkey Downo needs to be scared of where that army is, not just if it busts the ramp. You need to know that as soon as it happens, but also if it's being picked up and sent across the map. So the Revelation's really going to come help out here. Glad to see our Protoss taking a 3rd base. Maybe that cannon's up at home, too.
What a god.
Yeah,
Turkey Downo with 3 bases.
Yeah.
And a Forge. Okay, we've seen Hallucinated Phoenix.
I like it. The Oracle wasn't quite ready to go, I guess, and that was almost a dangerous timing.
Cass goes for it. No force field. The force field was a little bit late. No Guardian Shield as well. Now the Viking, they try to do the job. They will tag it down the carrier. It will fall right here and now. And now the Stalkers are being picked off. Once again, it's 1 base against 3, but I do believe there's enough units for Cass to break through.
Yeah, but isn't it all of his units? He has to rebuild them, whereas Turkey Downo at least has 3 bases. But if he does lose this position, he also loses his main production. But it looks like he's just barely not going to be able to break it. So many shield batteries getting energy here and just barely keeping that Tempest alive.
Oh my god, Turkey Downo with the most random strategy here, and with the Tempest just not dying. There is not enough damage output on the side of Cass, and obviously that 1 Marine production hitting him a little bit too hard on this one. I mean, he is on 1 base for now 11 minutes, so it's not like he could power up 5 barracks, but you know, the instant there was not enough Vikings, not enough Marines on the ground, well, nothing died on the side of Turkey Downo.
Not enough died, for sure. It just, the Tempest go down, and that is his production. He hasn't really built any other gateways. But, dang, there's so many shield batteries, and Koss, he's dead. Turkey Downo is going to take the 2-0 for Brazil.
Easy peasy for Brazil here in Turkey Downo with 2 aggressive strats. GG is cold, and Brazil leads the series 2-0.
You know, I did mention that an easier response is just to bring out the Terran, and I really thought that Koss was going to have it. Obviously, he already prepared in his mind about the cannon rush with that 2nd supply depot, but then I think he kind of underestimated or got tricked in by Protoss tricks again with the follow-up. Just so many big things happening there. The lack of the earlier scout, and then the starport reactor being on the front line. That was always going to be quite dangerous.
Damn, Turkey Downo.
We didn't expect this. Turkey Downo took 2 points ahead for Brazil.
And
wow.
You know what it means? It means that we'll see Turkey Downo versus Bly.
Yes.
And guys,
oh gosh, that's gonna be so amazing.
I hope you guys are like well seated and everything, because it might get crazy.
Yeah. We can see the initial important part was that he lost a Viking, then the reactor. I mean, this is all about speed, you know? Like, obviously, if he saves the command center, then that's fantastic, but it's all about speed. It's like, can he get enough Vikings to take out the Void Rays, to stop the Tempest transition, push forward their tanks, and seriously, losing 1 Viking and then the other Viking's production is sometimes the breaking point, but this was the attempted breaking point of Turkey Downo, and the shield batteries worked.
Oh yeah, they did the job, and yeah, when you don't have the critical amount of Marines, critical amount of Vikings anymore, then the shield batteries are just saying, you know, you're not gonna kill anything. And now he actually targets down the Tempest with everything he has, with the Marines, with the Vikings, as the Stalkers keep on dealing damage, which might have been a mistake. But especially considering that the Tempest were not dying anymore. That's the thing. Like, he tries to use all his DPS on a single unit that he just cannot kill, as there is energy on any shield batteries. That's quite crazy. I told you, sending Cass, a little dangerous. And now you 2-0 down.
Yeah.
So Bly is coming next against Turkey Downo. And it's
Oh,
gonna be
boy.
on Eastwatch.
Okay.
Okay.
Proxy Nexus, bottom right. I call
For the
it now.
Photon overcharge.
Yes.
Ah, wait a second.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
No,
gosh.
I mean Ninja expansion. Like if he plays a
You think? I feel like Turkey Dano
Counter Rush again?
might just be that guy, the guy that only does the cannon rush. Because as much as you want to give like any of these other common cannon rushers, you're talking about the guy from France, everyone brings up Prinef. As much as you want to give them more credit and be like, well, they could do other weird Protoss stuff, they generally don't. So I just want to say cannon rush again.
All right. What do you say, Edgy? Counter Rush?
I mean, can you do something else?
I don't know enough about him, but I don't think he
What
wants
does your
to.
heart think?
That
What does your heart say?
that
Say.
he's going for a cannon rush,
Cannon
and
rush?
Bly will notice him. And
Okay, so it's
That's a very good
it's
call.
a Nidus
Yeah.
Nidus cannon situation.
I think Bly is really mad right now at his teammates.
What the hell, guys? Like not even Turkey Dano? Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, imagine if he lost. You see his
It'd be
face when
amazing. If
when
Turkey
Kaiser
Dano
said
all
that.
kills, it is just the single most amazing thing that ever happened in Nation Wars. Beating Marine Lord 5-0 in Korea in Nation Wars 3. You heard it first.
Yes. So the next game is gonna be the Ukrainian captain Bly against Turkey Dano and his cannon rush, maybe. See you after the break. Hello and welcome back to Turkey Dano Show, and it's taken out the Mega Cass, and it's time to Bly.
Can he do it against Bly? Like, that's the question. Obviously, against Dimaga and Cass work perfectly. Two different kind of styles. Obviously, it's not the same matchup, but we still get the gist of it, which is, I want to kill you, I want to kill you fast, and my buildings will not be in my main.
No, they will not. Of course, I have some tweets coming in from those amazing games. I don't want that on ladder.
It's nice that Emil thinks it's not on ladder already.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. No, but it's actually surprisingly difficult to do, I think. There's a reason that it's only making its popularity nowadays.
I have a question here. Can you get Grandmaster with this on EU ladder?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Just by
pretty sure
doing
you can.
cannon rush and...
You know, Protoss is a magical race.
Oh.
Okay.
It is.
I
It
was
is.
just going to mention how, like, who was it? Was it Lambo, a Laser, Sanster? Someone went
6
to
pool? Oh, 12 pool?
the
Back then?
gasless Zerg up until Masters, and then you get Grandmaster with it too? I don't remember. There's
Yeah.
a lot of things you can do, and there's the skill involved.
You used to be
Haji.
able to do like 4 gateways in every single matchup and still like rank super high on the ladder. Well, obviously you get better and better as you know as you do those builds. You actually get all those tiny transitions and tiny details that make you a better player. But there's a lot of strategies that you can spam like this that will get you super far.
Okay.
And I bet Turkey Dano is a guy like that can win with cheeses in every single matchup.
I will ask him so for the advice. And here we go for Bly against Turkey Dano on his watch.
Guys.
Hey.
Don't go crazy, but this might be the craziest game of Nation Wars so far. In the top right. Already up to 0 against Ukraine. He represents Brazil. He's kind of crazy. That's Turkey Dano.
That Forge
The force is here.
in the bottom left. As the blue Zerg for Ukraine, it is Bly. What's
So-
gonna happen?
Okay, the pylon is
Wow.
quite far.
Wow.
That reminds me of what he did on that
Biogenesis
Biogenesis against Zhuge Liang, which is like, it doesn't really matter if my cannon rush doesn't do anything, and just have the proper positioning, and I'll get a robo eventually.
So,
Just please
it's...
drop a hatch right there.
No.
It's
Maybe
happening,
in the
though.
future. Maybe in the future, Amity's Patrol. This could totally be happening. So the key difference, though, already, maybe, well, I shouldn't say this yet. If Bly does not make spine crawlers, then we get to see what Turkey Dano really usually does, I would say, in this position, where clearly he doesn't worry so much about killing the hatchery, but still setting up that similar contain, because we just didn't see that it come to fruition. It got killed before it really got enough immortals to really be scary. That might not be the case here if Bly is just going to go into typical roaches. But of course, Bly knows what's up. He does slap down that proxy hatchery in the main. Turkey Dano, don't you know Bly at all? Why aren't you looking?
Oh my god.
Silly.
He's got
what's funny?
nothing to defend with this.
He can't really even go for it though, right? Because he wants mining still quite a bit. No, well, maybe he could. I'm just thinking, could he actually pull all the probes necessary to kill a hatchery and still be able to contain?
Might be. I mean, he does have 2 cannons, right? And he's getting closer and closer to the 100 gas he does need for the robo. That's basically what he needs. For about a minute, he can just, you know, gather the resources to drop down the robo. And then after that, it's okay. But the thing is, Turkey Dano doesn't know. Turkey Dano doesn't check. Turkey Dano doesn't care. That's the thing, right? He's not even trying. And he saw the drone, obviously, going to his main base. So he might know in his head, but doesn't want to reveal it or whatever. But he's not doing anything and not even dropping a pylon to get like cannons on this left side. Turkey Dano doesn't know.
I imagine it's in a situation he is worried about the Ling timing, of course, which he's already walled against. But I doubt he worries about seeing a drone come into his base. So even if he knew a drone was missing, he might think that it is, you know, out on the map. But there's the creep. He knows now. What can you do? I guess you could build a shield battery and buy a lot of time, but he doesn't have a pylon around his main. And he still is not responding to this.
It's okay. Well, you know what? Now you can recall your units quite fast. So what do? You get an immortal and you recall it?
But then you still have Bly on 2 bases, which is just exactly what he doesn't want to have happen.
What? Okay, now trying to surround roaches. Yeah, that's what he's doing, but he's recalling just the Stalker and the Adept then.
That's a smart move.
And now the 2 Ravagers cocoon. He's not going to get anything, and as it's happening, Turkey Dano is not mining from anywhere in the map.
Bly just isn't being interrupted, which I feel like we always question why he does this in the first place, and then you add on the proxy hatch, and of course it looks super silly, but what is even the point of what Turkey Dano does if you allow a Zerg 2-base mining?
Well,
I don't understand.
The thing is, like, maybe I'm mistaken, but I've seen it a couple of times, and I do believe that if you've got 2 Immortals being produced as close as possible and a Prism, you just can kill a Zerg player on 2 bases.
I guess so.
Obviously, this hatchery was not part of the plan. Right?
Yeah, right.
Bly gets wrecked. Well, Bly wrecks his opponent here. Turkey Dano will stop at 2 wins, which is already a lot.
Yes. That was unexpected, but Bly comes in, slaps him down hard, and says no to the cannon rush, and we won't really get to see what that specific one looks like. The one away from him, and in this matchup. There we go. Not versus Terran, which is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
So, oh well, maybe you'll see him again later, but now it's a question of who Brazil sends out. We could have a ZVZ before we see Kellozer come.
Yeah,
expect that.
Might be a ZVZ with Eric first. I think that's a good goal for Brazil to send out Eric first and wait. Depends on the map. I'm actually just super annoyed that he didn't wait for the Immortal. Like, if he brings the Immortal, he defends that. He doesn't lose the game right away. And he still has this contain, and then you've got the second Immortal that comes out, you get a Prism, you go pick that up, and you bring it back to the opposite side of the map, and...
But I wanted to ask if Bly had any units on the other side of the map.
He had a couple of roaches, that's about it.
But if there's literally no other units where the cannon contain can the cannons die? Because that's what I was worried about. I was like, he's just not winning on any front of teams if he has to recall to any point. But those are games that you just have to see a few more of, I suppose, before you can call absolutely correctly, because who does that?
I'll ask some details to Creepsail. I know Creepsail knows everything about this build. He does it all the time, and he wins a lot with it. So I'll ask some feedback about this game. What could have Turkey Dano done better?
Right. Well, yeah, I think, you know, seeing a drone in his main.
Eric, Kelazur, let's agree on something so we can be wrong. Eric, is this the end of Curse?
Oh.
But it was not wrote properly, guys.
Yeah,
it's a
I was
K.
going to say
It's a K. Well, it's okay, though. It's okay. Eric, so ZVZ, we finally made the right call, Jess.
I'm
super psyched. I'm super psyched. No, I think if it starts right here and there with a ZVZ and Eric can take a map, then suddenly we're looking at a pretty tough best of 7. And I do think that Eric does have the potential to beat Bly.
Yes, and I mean, I don't think you see them face off against each other too often, being from different regions and just Bly being a little more high profile. So, but I guess like ZVZ could definitely happen. Eric is a solid Zerg player, and Karazur is there to back him up if need be. I think he's already pretty proud of his teammates, so he's just hoping that Eric will continue the trend. Surprise wins.
See, but he mentioned that you know, the side players were totally able to take games out of the side players of Ukraine, and that's what happened. Turkey Dano gets 2 games. Obviously, the big boss was a little bit too tough to beat. Turkey Dano didn't manage to do it. Now Eric has a shot, knows about the matchup, obviously, and has the opportunity to take on the big boss right here and there without even needing to use Karazur. Which is probably just a way on how do you win. You win a best of 7 like this. Between 2 bosses, you got a second guy that can take that can take that super important map. You set yourself up for a victory.
If Eric takes this victory, it will be quite the just pressure off of Brazil, I think. Not to have to solely depend on Karazur. It seems the game is ready. It's going to be on Backwater for this ZVZ.
Amazing map for ZVZ, Jess.
Hey, is it?
That's the best map for ZVZ.
It's an even matchup.
Oh yeah,
you know,
quite an even map
rate.
for ZVZ, to be honest. So
okay, so it's always a question though of Bly. What can he do? And he's given a map that does provide a few more interesting aspects to it. You know, Bly's definitely looking for revenge. Considering yesterday he thought he was in decent positions and kind of threw them away. I guess for not getting into game. Just kidding, guys.
No. Prediction was like, oh, game's starting. No, game is not starting. It crashed.
You know, occasionally I hear them panicking, and I'm like, I wonder if that panic is for us or for them. You know what I mean? Like, I just see their arms waving around and then, like, talking to each other, and I'm like, well, something's breaking over there, or they're trying to tell us something.
They usually talk amongst themselves, you know, and they try to get some information going from Mapu, who has all the information being in-game, right? Mapu says it in English. Nobody. It's a French production crew, guys, so it's kind of tough for them to get everything he says. Obviously, with the German accent, it makes it even worse. You know, it's like. And then you've got Antoine that speaks a little bit of German, so he tries to do the translation. It's it's quite crazy out there.
That's why it takes so long to get into games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't take too long.
I'm just kidding.
Don't say that.
It doesn't.
Don't say that.
It doesn't.
Now Twitch chat is like, oh, yes. You nasty
Finally, she reaffirmed
French
everything we've always talked about.
Oh, my God.
Oh, gosh.
But we'll get the game, and we'll get it on Backwater.
Yes.
Such an amazing map for ZVZ.
Why do you keep saying that?
I don't
Why do
know.
you think it's amazing?
I don't know.
Oh, you can't even think of something right now as you put on the spot.
Well, maybe in my own language I'd be able to do a joke, but right now I can't. So I'm just gonna say that. No, I'm not gonna say anything.
No?
No.
I bet.
No. You can get
you should do
super
the French
fast
joke.
free bases. Whoa. Amazing.
Wait, is the French joke a pun of some sort? And that's why you can't do it?
No, it's just my brain is faster.
Oh,
in
okay,
French.
gotcha.
It's just the way it is.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we are finally into the game, and things are already looking to be heated. In the top left for Brazil, it is the Red Zerg, Eric.
And in the bottom right, as the Blue Zerg, the big boss of Ukraine, he is Bly.
Usually the one accused of doing these early pools, but he is going to have it done to him. So it's funny though, like if you're struggling against early pools or 2-racks or cannon rush, one of the best ways to learn how to defend against it is to do it yourself and see how other people do it against you.
Yeah.
So this is something I bring up because Bly, of course, is known for how many early pools he does. Gas, no gas, super dedicated, not dedicated. And as such, I think he's already like mentally more prepared than some other people. He's physically going to be prepared more just because he has a drone already out in the map, although his spawning pool is not as early as it could be.
Oh, no, not at all. And now we will get to see that it's an early pool and that all the larvas have been used. So it's looking like 8 Zergling, and it will be with a Baneling Nest right after. I like it from Bly. That will be hiding his second drone, well, his scouting drone. So he gets to confirm if there's a transition into a hatchery, and if he doesn't see it, and he's not seeing it right now, he will be able to confirm that there's a baneling nest, and that's really, really important. Bly already, what? Did he see it? I think he...
He
Oh,
did
does,
just
okay.
barely see it, and it's obviously going to be a baneling nest. I think he also could have been just suspicious because of how long the 2 guys were in gas. Now it's 1, but that's not very nicely done.
And Bly,
Very interesting response.
double spine up the ramp here.
Instantly, yeah. Just setting it up ahead of time. Is going to let that hatchery die then? As wait, talk too soon. He does pull a drones.
Pulls the drone, like
the
he
spike
knows
crawler.
that there is no speed, so I guess there's not that much risk of going down the ramp. Like that, the main thing is, oh, metabolic boost is done, and now everything is dead. But against banelings, I guess it's a slower attack in a way. So now he will actually just leave the Zerglings. I like it from Bly. I think micro-wise it's perfect, and now the spines are already done. Perfect defense from our player from Ukraine here. Gonna try and get this last baneling, and now we've got 2 hatchery production with 3 more drones and 2 spine crawls available. That's just perfect. Perfect from Bly. Might lose the queen though.
Whoa, Eric.
What?
Eric lost the surrounds and will not be able to get the queen. 2 spines to the front is going to make Bly feel very safe. And Eric tried to mix things up, went for the baneling nest only. But Bly with the drone scout and the follow-up drone scout, well done for the response.
Yeah, you don't cheese the cheeser is basically the story of this game, right? It's like he knows all the tricks. He knows how to counter them. And just like... it feels like he knows the transition and all the little tells of what you're doing, and he has the the perfect answer to it. I love the drone scout in ZVZ and the fact that he hit this scouting drone to get the follow-up scout. Everything on the side of Bly is perfect, and that puts him in a tremendous position. Like he's already up by 7 workers. As an earlier natural gets already has 2 queens. I think Eric might have only 1.
Working on the one.
And then now, it's just working on the 2nd and 3rd one as we speak.
Nice scout. Nice
and
scout.
Bly gets an amazing scout with a slow Zergling.
Yeah, he sees that there's still no gas being taken, so it's not like there's going to be a speedling, baneling all in that he has to worry about, or he roaches too quickly. Like, it is just a droning game, which he's absolutely winning. Now he's going to grab his double gas as the game continues on, and his 3rd base is kind of a freebie. He's protected by 2 spine crawlers and eventually a wall when he builds the roach warren, so that 3rd should be good to go. And Eric, I mean, I'm sure Eric wasn't anticipating the drone scout. That was problem number 1. But he tried to cheese the cheeser.
Yeah.
And now he has to play a macro game against a guy who isn't just good at cheese. He has a decent macro game, certainly has decent ZVZ, and is ahead.
No, it's just, well, we said it numerous times, but Bly is just a smart player. He is just a smart player because we know that, mechanically speaking, he's not the best player out there. And he still gets amazing results. He's got an amazing, how should I say that? Well, basically, he's super experienced. He's been playing for 8 years. So his longevity is the word I was looking for. His longevity is quite impressive, considering he's not the most gifted mechanical player, and he doesn't really rely on that. He relies on just being smarter than the other guy. And it's not like he's beating lower level players. He gets upsets all the time against any kind of player, which is amazing to think about. And in this game, and that's also one of the reasons that Bly is such a dangerous opponent in the best of 1 situation and in Nation Wars. Because of that, it's how good is he? Like, he plays against Eric. He's like, no, I'm gonna drone scout, defend perfectly the all-in that's coming my way, and then the transition is perfect. And now I don't see him losing his advantage anytime soon. He's got a lair that's almost finished, as the one of Eric is finishing right now. It's just, he's playing a perfect game, and from the start, it looks like Bly should take the win. It's going to take a little bit longer, but Bly created an amazing advantage for himself.
It is going to take a little while longer, because it's not just about no one tapping out when their build didn't work. It's also that they are going up into roaches, both going up into layers. So while I thought maybe one of them would try and end it, or Eric would try to make up for the original all-in, he'd go for a roach all-in, he doesn't. So upgrades, roach speed. Bly might still try and hit with the +1, knowing that he should have a roach advantage. Eric won't be too far behind, though, on the upgrade. He'll just be behind, of course, on the army. maybe in too significant of a way. I feel like there's a chance he could hold. These are the last drones he makes. He also starts making roaches. The Defender's Advantage kicks in. Some miracle, you know, a little bit here and there. Maybe he can hold too, but of course this is the point where everything Bly had in the game that was ahead of Eric really comes to a point in that army supply right now.
Yeah, it's already telling the story right there. 50 army supply against the 34 of Eric. Bly does go for a couple more drones, which is quite interesting to me, and also the Spire. So he will go for that timing. He will attack with those roaches. That'd be super impressive if he didn't go for it, or at least surprising if he didn't go for that attack. But he has the transition in mind with the Spire, which I like it for Bly because he's an amazing Muta player. He loves the unit, but I would have rather seen him go just for, you know, brute force, mass roach. I've got an advantage. You don't have a million Ravagers. You don't have a million Spines. You don't have Infestors. You don't have anything to come back with. Like roaches, it's not a really easy unit to outplay with. Like if you've got less and you've got same upgrades, usually you lose, right? And it's interesting that he goes for a Spire. Eric will scout it.
But that is his first time scouting it, because I was wondering why he got a Hydralisk in. He's already playing pretty like greedy against the situation with his +1 Carapace as well. This is not going to work out for Bly, so he did not invest entirely into the Roach push. So why did he get a Hydralisk in? Well, I guess I thought he was also going to try and do a Lurkers, but no. Now it's useful because he does know there's potential for Mutas. But Bly, despite banking enough for them, is just going Roaches. And Eric got a little too overconfident, pushed forward, lost a lot of them his own.
Yeah, he didn't have glial reconstitution as well, so it was harder for him to replace his army and get some proper kiting done as Bly was doing it. Now some Mutalisks will show up, 6 in the production tab on the side of Bly, as Eric is getting the Grooved Spines, I believe, which is the Hydra range upgrade. So that's going to help him against Mutas. Yes, it is Grooved Spines. Okay, cool. And 5 Hydralisks on the production tab. So now Bly, slightly bigger numbers in terms of roaches, but not the best upgrades in the world. It's 1-1 against 1-0.
Yeah, exactly. His upgrades are down. His Mutas aren't going to be the surprise that he was hoping for, and they're not going to be able to contain Eric too long either, because he already is making Hydras. You don't have that awkward, like, oh, I have 8 Mutas, you only have 1 Hydra. Let's get a faster fourth. No, they're going to have like similarly timed bases, and Eric, I feel, or I should say Bly, by not just going for one tech or the other, by doing this, not fully committing to the Roach attack, I feel like he's kind of lost that earlier lead.
Yeah, I loved everything he did up to the point that he threw down the Spire, because not even like, even if you don't build in any Mutas, the Spire is such an expensive building when you're producing Roaches are not that expensive, so if you build a Spire, it's already quite a bit of Roaches that are going down the drain, and you're going to go for a Muta strategy that for now is not achieving that much. Got a couple of drones, not even getting the extractor or anything from the natural. Get some scouting done, maybe a couple more drones here and there. But as you said, now he is behind in terms of technology. He doesn't have the Hydralisk Den yet.
Right.
Doesn't have the +2 started either.
But he did finally just invest purely into his ground, so that supply is back to where we expected it to be. I was really worried that he was going to play too fancy of a game, kind of like the last time he played on Backwater versus Mana, was it? Right? That was Backwater.
It was
where like I thought he got into an okay position with the creep spread denial, and then he did a couple of too fancy moves, but maybe he fixes it here by just going pure Roach Ravager. The Hydras need protection. The DPS is better, but they just die faster too.
Yeah, and they don't have enough Roaches to tank for the damage that the massive count of Ravagers is dealing right there to the army of Eric. And Bly, it seems like he might have broke him, and even the Corrosive Bile just landing on the Hydralisk, and now even the Evo Chamber, the Ravagers, everything is super exposed. The new production from Bly should seal the deal and get this best of 7 to a tight situation, 2-2 between Brazil and Ukraine.
That's what we were expecting. It just seemed like, wait, is Bly going to do this again? Is he going to forget that he has Burrow? Is he going to just underestimate his opponent? But then the max out, and it's like, oh, okay, right. That's how that's supposed to go down after just demolishing Eric's very risky, cheesy opener. It should have looked like that.
Yeah. No, it took a little bit of time. We expected it by seeing that they went for a third hatchery and lair anyways after that. But the Spire made it look a little bit dangerous at some point on the side of Bly, but yes, the economical advantage was just a little bit too much, and that timing on the both spines were
So good.
quite good. Quite good, to be honest.
That was perfect.
Yep.
I guess an even more perfect game would have been one spine crawler, but it's hard to critique when you just got such an early game lead. Bly did all the right moves, just beginning with a drone scout. Unorthodox in ZVZ, but totally called for if you think that they're going to be the ones that feel the pressure to do something. And I think that he knew that he is the more established player, so he called it appropriately.
Yeah, during these fights, I think Eric lost a little bit too much also because of the lack of little reconstitution. And now it's the maxed out armies that will clash, 124 to the 80 of Eric, and not enough roaches to tank the damage. So yes, the Hydralis will deal a tremendous amount of damage, way better than the DPS than the roaches, but if you don't have anything to tank for them, then it's useless supply.
I didn't really notice that how much he had been banking. At the last second, he built 15 more roaches.
Eric?
Right, Eric, yeah. He built 15 more roaches at the very last second. I wonder if maybe he was just too desperate to get to lurkers. But anyways, we do have Kelazur versus Bly happening now.
That's the one we expected.
So Ukrainian captain ties up the series here, and Kelazur is coming up for Brazil.
The battle of the big boss.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yes, indeed. And let me just check the map. And yeah, Bly against Kelazur, we've been looking for this match.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the most interesting and closest game.
I said in the beginning of the series, it's like an easier game almost in a more interesting way than just like, oh, Bly's easier than Cyril. It's just that I feel like Cyril, you really got to change up your own game because he is just going to expect and anticipate and demolish you because he knows everything. So you mix it up. But Bly, it's not so much about he knows, it's what you know about Bly.
Yeah.
Which I feel Kelazur knows decent amounts. He said he felt confident, you know, he knows what Bly can do and he won't underestimate him. And
that's
then
what he said, yeah.
All he has to do is play his standard game, and I think he's good.
Well, maybe the slightly defensive standard.
Sure.
Like not the greedy standard. I think everybody has that sweet spot between I'm gonna be doing my usual build, but I'll be slightly greedier or slightly more defensive. Obviously against Bly,
sure.
You don't want to take any risks, and if he does that, I also do believe that those two clashing should be in favor of Kelazur. But once again, never count Bly out, and obviously not in a best of one.
So next game is gonna be Bly against Kelazur, the battle of the captains here, and it's gonna be on Catalyst. So we'll be back after a short break, so stay with us. Hello and welcome back with us, and we are ready for Bly against Kelazur in the first series of the lower bracket of this group, Poland.
Yeah, we have the battle of the captains. We have the two best players of each lineup that will go against each other. Might be a best of three. Well, at least that's what we expect. As the how did Kelazur say? What word did you use for the his teammates?
His henchmen.
His henchmen.
Yeah.
Both of them are dead on both teams. So now it's just the bosses that have to fight, to clash. And I think it's going to be a tough one for Ukraine on this one, for Bly.
Yes, which I guess Chad agrees with. I feel like it had to be a very, very bad showing by Bly to bring anyone else out in the ace, and ditto for Kelazur, right? So yeah, there should be a best of three between them, and it should go to the ace match, so to the 7th game of this series.
To go for the 4-3 that you predicted.
Did I?
You predicted 4-3, no?
Yeah,
4-3,
yeah, totally.
I think all of you guys predicted 4-3, and I predicted 4-2.
Aha, so it's
which means
against
it's a 2-0, easy peasy win, GG for Kelazur.
You think that's gonna happen?
2-0.
Okay.
2-0.
All right. I guess it could.
It's done.
I think Bly can take a game.
No. No, obviously he can. Obviously he can, and the question is how many different builds and timings can he exploit and use? Because they will be playing at least 2 games. You guys expect 3, the question is, can he be surprising game after game, right? If he doesn't go for the same exact timing, exploit something different.
Never really thought about it, but I wonder how many ZVT timings I can think of. A
lot.
You got your your Roach Ravager off 12 pool, 1 base, Roach Ravager off of 2 base. You have your 1/1 Roach all-in on 3 bases.
Ling Bane on 1 base.
There's some Hydra busts as well, but it's more often a Roach bust. Yeah, Ling Baneling all-ins, of course, exist. Ling Floods with upgrades, is becoming a thing again. Fast Spire is something that Blide still throws out every now and again.
Which is kind of crazy to think about. So not meta.
Yeah.
And what do we have?
Okay, I can think of 6 off the top of my head.
Oh, that was
definitely
more. That was more, no? That was 7, right?
Okay, maybe I missed.
We're not going to count him again, but yeah, there's a lot of timing that you can exploit, right?
Counting up to 7 Funka, it sounds impossible.
Yeah, it's on stream, impossible.
And like the 3 remaining maps we have is Catalyst, Abiogenesis, and Neon Violet.
Oh my god.
So I think we can expect something really crazy from Bly on Abiogenesis.
Maybe it's not a 2-0 then. Maybe it's 2-1.
Oh, if we got a proxy
Bly gets...
Why not?
I don't know. Maybe Bly gets it on Abiogenesis.
I want Turkey down to Alkill so badly. You're wrong, Fear Dragon.
You will sacrifice a goat.
Hopes and dreams just down the drain.
Sacrifice a Dark Templar? Damn. Hey, he's going all in on this one.
Oh.
Who's that guy?
Oh, some guy I know.
Kevin. There are a lot of Kevin in esports.
I'm considering a tattoo of the Jesus statue, Chris the Redeemer in Rio, but instead of the Jesus statue, I want Turkey Dano to make that pose for me.
We don't even know what this guy looks like. Do we? Yeah. We haven't seen him, right?
No, well, you will get the blank face tattooed. Yeah. That'd be really, really bad. You can't cheese Bly on fire. He made most of the cheese on for 7 years. Well, yes. You can't do that.
Oh, I've got Nidus Worms. Oh, it's just all is coming to me, man.
See?
Just keep on going. Just keep on going.
Turkey God Turkey. Turkey good.
I was like, is it Turkey good or is it Turkey God? Now Eric closes for Brazil. Oops. Didn't happen. The new SC2 greatest
awkward
country.
timing, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, what timing is
Sorry about that.
Tweets?
But, yeah. Nidus?
Just continuing
what else
on
is
here.
there? There's so many things. There is a lot of things. That
I'm running out of actual cheeses or all-ins, though, because I'm like, you can't really count fast ultras as like a cheese. Maybe in the beginning of like
it is a timing. You said timing originally, but...
I guess I did. But of course I meant more of like a...
aggressive timing.
Yeah.
Aggressive timing. And I think Ling Baneling can count for 2 because you can go for a Ling Bane on 1 base. You can do it on 2 bases. You can...
Yeah, I like the upgraded speedlings.
Like 1/1 Baneling speed, stuff like that,
I feel like we're forgetting something that's really obvious.
Designated pressure, from...
Trying to think of any no-regret, games I've seen lately.
Yeah. You'll get a lot of them. That's why I was thinking about, that Baneling buzz that he did with Baneling speed.
The proxy hatch, there's the roaches, there's the spine crawlers, and no one does anymore. But Bly, that's the thing, though. That's why I brought up Mutas, actually, is because Bly does occasionally bring that back out to
Nobody
really surprise
does it.
people. Exactly, no one does it, but it happens with Bly.
And we're ready for the game. Bly against Calazar, the battle of the captains. Who is gonna take it the first game? And here we go on Catalyst.
All right. So we start with a short distance map. So it might be quite useful if you're thinking, I want to kill my opponent fast.
I was just thinking, we take all this time to think about what Zergs can do, and what if like Calazar just T-Rexes?
Oh, that'd be so sick.
I would love that. I really want to see that. I really hope we get into the game. There's already SCVs out.
That would be a loss right off the bat, though.
You think?
Don't cheese the cheeser.
Oh, yeah.
We learned it just before.
No, but I still stick to that, but it is a little more different when they're different races, I guess.
Yeah.
Darn it. Okay. Regular old start off here. Oh, so sad. But all right, captain battle going down. Game number 5 in the bottom right has the Red Terran for Brazil. He is Calazar.
And his opponents just getting 2 wins in a row for Ukraine. The Blue Zerg, Bly. So nothing too crazy on the side of Bly, just a hatchery, a barracks on the appropriate side of the map from Calazar. Disappointed in you guys. No, but I like it for Calazar. I think, like, if you want to have the best win ratio against Bly, as you mentioned, I think you go for the most standard of standard with like a tiny emphasis on being safe. So scouting maybe a little bit more, maybe even use a scan or something that you don't see that regularly in the TVZ matchup. Like these days, we don't do that anymore. Maybe you can use a scan. Maybe you keep your Hellions back. Maybe you keep your Reaper back. All those situations where you have like two different styles, two different way of playing the same kind of units, just use the defensive one, and you should be fine.
Yeah. I like this SCV Scout. I mean, even if it was a 1-base version, they would have seen something come across the map, so it still is a very good time. Obviously, Crancer's on the low ground, there's a chance of canceling it, but it's sometimes not even about that, so it's going to see everything as normal. I kind of like this spawning pool location. I think in the past, I've really wondered, like, why the heck would you even bother doing that? But what it does is it kind of, like, makes up for what an Overlord could be there. It's a spawning pool instead. You will see Hellion drops, which are very popular nowadays. Whereas, you know, that Overlord's going someplace else. It would not be there to scout it in a couple minutes.
Okay, can the SCV block the Extractor? No. Well, I like the combination of the SCV Scouts patrolling the third base as the Reaper tries to intercept the drone, force an Extractor. For now, it should be quite difficult to kill it, as we have the Swapperoo with the factory and the barracks. We'll get the reactor. Nice micro from Bly, not losing the drone. That's something we expect from him. I think in those tiny situations, tiny micro situations, I think Bly is a really excellent player. And I'm not surprised. Yes, I love it.
You know what, though? I don't like that he has to do this. It's always fun and clever to see the orbital be halted, and instead he just pick up the SCVs, but that's a decent kind of waste of time on the non-orbital.
Yeah.
So,
say 15 seconds, maybe? 10, 15 seconds? 10 seconds, maybe.
But for the Lings. But he still doesn't have his third, so it's his own. It's a similar problem for Zerg here.
Ooh. Okay, third time that he has to do that. But Bly would like to have a third base, but for now it's quite hard. He does have speed that just finished, but now we've got Hellions, and see, third and fourth one, you keep them on the ramp, and you just defend with it as Bly tries to go for the aggression. The attack on the opposite side of the map. Can he get the Queen?
So this has got to start like really worrying Kelazur. It's kind of like, I'm afraid I'm poking the bear a little bit. Like, okay, it's cool, and if this is Snoot, I really doubt he would respond to losing a hatchery by anything extreme. But Bly does that on that Roach Warren before he even takes the third. He's going to add on a layer 2, though, so it's like, is this going to be for a Nidus Worm, or was it something that he was like, you know what, their base is not going to be taken, so I just need to continue with my build. And he does definitely like his roaches, so we'll see basically when the layer finishes. He adds on a couple more drones, something that Kelazur, I'm sure, is also very aware of, that he has to be careful about. He is going for reactored Marines, surprisingly, instead of keeping it on the factory. Oh, I saw the words at Tech Lab. That's why this is quite safe.
Marine tank Banshee. It's like, okay, you wanna Nidus me? I'll wreck you.
Yeah.
I think basically that's one of the best defense that you could get against the Nidus play. As we have 6 Hellions on the map, 3rd CC will still be dropped down. You don't want to go over defensive as well. At the same time, we've got a Viking that's straight to get some Overlord skill. It's interesting, he didn't even clear the one that's on top of the natural, and he lost the Viking, I believe. Yes, he did.
Yes. So it's a bit of an awkward timing for Bly. It wasn't the super early layer to just be like, obviously a Nidus Worm, but he was supply blocked. His third base still wasn't done, so of course he was banking a bit, just because he doesn't have a lot of production. He sends a couple roaches out, but the Banshee does intercept this. This is exactly what you need to do. It's not even scary, even if it doesn't find them. But then he slaps on an Infestation Pit very, very quickly. So maybe this is kind of like the Eastwatch game, except he doesn't even bother with the Nidus Worm this time. He just goes straight up to Ultras, and then he adds a Nidus Worm.
Ah, that'd be sick.
That'd be pretty funny.
If he does go for that, I'd be hyped. I'd be down. As we have Bioplay from Kelazur. Double more racks. The hive was so
540
fast.
hive. I keep saying faster and faster hives. It's like we're regressing all the way back to early Legacy of the Void, when 5-minute hives were like, okay, sure, why not? Because Ultras were that good.
Okay, we're looking at 43 SCVs against 53 drones, but it's already a little bit less now. It's 50 now. 49 with the Hellion run by. I can't believe Bly doesn't have a single unit.
When you go for 545 hive,
you deserve it.
Yeah, basically he kind of deserves it.
People will call me biased for Terran, but it's just like, you deserve what's happening to you right there.
He's probably like, where the heck are the units? Did I miss them moving across the map? Why are your queens taking so long to respond?
You see him building 5 bunkers. It's like, oh my god, I'm getting rushed. No,
he's taking it so calmly.
Literally has nothing.
Because of course at the end he scouted what the deal was. He saw a stupidly fast hive, stupid in an amazing way, of course. And he just killed 23 drones, which Bly had to use a lot of the bank he was saving up to immediately remake, and still at 48, down to the Terran. Not a good position.
Yeah, that's quite bad for Bly this first game. Not starting the perfect way. Kelazur playing super smart, I do believe, against Bly. There's been a period of time where Bly had a lot of problems with some of the best European Terrans. I remember Marine Lord back in the day, especially. Never lost a map against him. And that's what I expected of him. And I remember those games. I'm like, what did Marine Lord do? Like, was he that much better than him? No, he was just, like, perfectly...
There's no crawler.
Well, there's no cloak.
Thank God never got cloak, though. Like, seriously.
If there's cloaks, like, oh my God, you've got a hive and you don't have any detection. But it's just like, I think there is a lot of good decisions that you can make against Bly, and I just do believe that Kelazur did every single one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, really, it comes down to, like, scouting. So the SCV scout was smart, and then a Banshee opener, even a safety Banshee, which like a non-cloak Banshee kind of is, that's smart too. And then just continuing to get some scouting. Even the Hellions, after getting all those drones, got scouting. So he's in a very good position. He knows how desperate Bly is to buy more time to get to chitinous plating. He's going to have like one Ultra to start things off, and that's not going to look very pretty, as he has really no support for it. So even as Kelazur loses a couple of SCVs, like this is a nice run by. He has this huge army just barreling down the right side, clearing up creep as it goes. That's such a small army in comparison.
I love it that he went for Infestors right away, because those two fungals, he actually picks up the Marines. Can they die inside the medevac? I don't even know, actually.
I think they can die inside
now that they can be picked up.
I don't think picking up stops the damage, but you know what?
That'd be
crazy. To figure this out. Huh.
Okay, the Corrosive Ball will connect with one tank. I mean, he got a little bit more time because of those fungals, but for now, with no energy left, it's going to be quite tough to avoid those Marines and tanks to deal the damage. He's actually just bypassing that fourth base. He wants the third. He wants the drones. He knows that there is nothing. First Ultralisk is on the field at 850.
Yeah, before combat shields. So absurd.
Lol.
Yeah, but combat shields is finishing. Catalyst is a small map. This is always a good tank push spot anyways, or map, sorry. And now he's just going to take advantage of it. Kite down the Ultras. They do not have their plating.
The Ultras literally die as the chitinous plating was done. And that's a terrible sight for Bly and for Ukraine, because, well, he might hold in the end. And even it's quite an early call, I do believe. But he still took so much damage right there against the Terran that's rushing to +2/+2 upgrades. And as Bly just doesn't have any, he only has +1 carapace. And Ultralists, they fare well against units that have the same upgrades as they do, and that's not going to be the case in this game.
Look at Mike against this one Ultra. Tanks still do a hefty amount of damage, so the Marines might have looked a little bit weak there. The tank is still powering through. Kelazur is actually he's maybe getting a little too far ahead of himself. Missing a couple medevac cycles, and Ultras do get complicated when you start underestimating them, but I think he still got this.
Yeah, the Kaiser Blades, they do deal a lot of damage, or pack a punch, as we say, but they do end up dying, those two Ultras, and Bly falls below 100 supply as Kelazur just has his rally points right into the face of his opponents. And that should be a first game for Kelazur. Still 4 Ultralisk in the eggs. They will pop out here, but no transfuse energy and still no upgrades as the Terran player is now +2 attack. So it's going to be even tougher for those Ultras to deal some damage.
Bly, not the type of Zerg player to give up, though. If he has Ultras, if he has drones, he is going to stay in this game. So this base, of course, is being harassed, and now it's going to die. He is still trying to get some miracle run-by happening. It's not going to happen. Miracle run-by.
Miracle run-by with 3 Zerglians. That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Like even 3 Banes, I think, would not have done that much damage. Taking another base on the left side, as you said, Bly, just not going to tap out. No, I can still make something happen. And he did make it happen against Seoul, but we're looking at a different beast here. We're looking at Kelazur in a really, really good form. And especially, like, you can tell that mechanically he's there. His macro is quite pristine. Well, he was supply blocked about 30 seconds ago, but other than that, I do think that his macro and like the adding of his production building is on point. All of those, micro-wise, pretty good as well, but also, and that's what I love about StarCraft 8 years after it came out. It's like you can tell when the players are playing smart. And Kelazur is playing smart. Whether it was against Serral, and obviously playing smart against Serral doesn't mean the same thing as playing smart against Bly, but in both games, he was smart.
He definitely should add on some stronger anti-Ultra units, either more tanks, just to secure a perimeter, or, of course, Liberators, the more obvious, better units against it. And he finally adds on those Liberators. With still no second starport, still no Ghost Academy. With 4 bases, he can definitely choose either one of those or even both. But now it is just about the bio, which is giving Bly that little glimmer of hope. You know, like a couple of good fungals that he doesn't have anymore. And then the Ultras get a good trade.
Oh. And the 2 Infestors just fall right after.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough one. He has doubled the army supply with 112 against 60. Don't quote me on the exact double the army supply, but you know what I mean. And we'll see about, well, 1 million Marines and Marauders just trying to get the job done. And I think it should be okay, especially with +3 attack, just finishing in a couple of seconds. He has nothing but drones, Ultralisk, and Queens.
Yeah, there's not even any Lings on the
Not a single
staff.
Zergling. And now a Infestor.
You know, Lings can sometimes act as the fungals. Basically, if you stop the army from microing, then you're going to increase the chance of the Ultras to do some damage. But not even getting Lings, really just hoping the Infestors cut it, but he's lost all of them so far. This drop is very, very effective. Of Ultra run by. This is how he brought it back versus Soul, but there's already units prepared here.
Once again, the splits are really good. And the Liberator and Tank doing the job. Those 3 Ultralists, they fall down on the opposite side of the map. 2 base go down instantly. And Kelazur puts it 3-2 in favor of Brazil. So the first match, round between those 2 captains ended up on a right hook from Kelazur in the face of Bly. KO.
KO. Yeah.
Not yet.
It was not a very uplifting game for Bly. That was just kind of a slow tumble down as his third base was denied, then his Roach Warren was scouted, so even if he was thinking of doing something a little more nefarious, it was scouted and he got supply blocked at the wrong time. And then he decided to try and do, you know, desperate measures kind of thing. Ultras loses so many drones, it doesn't even matter. Not saying that he would have won the game if he had 25 more drones, but he probably would have held that first push a little bit better.
Yeah. No, definitely losing those drones at this particular moment was quite tough. And see how production is synced up with us. This is the, you know, the Hellion run-by that you dream of as a Terran player. It's like, oh my god, he has nothing but Queens. And I can run from base to base and get every single drone. And there's not a pesky Zergling that's trying to hold me back. It's amazing. Oh,
Seriously.
Roaches are slow. And he played it well, actually, with the Roaches. It could have been even worse if those 3 Roaches weren't microed properly on the side of Bly. That was probably the main victory from Bly, that small counter-attack. Maybe the same Roaches that were handling the Hellions a little bit earlier.
Probably.
Went for that counter-attack with 8-9 SCVs that went down in the end. It's just when you're playing that greedy of a game.
This timing, oh, it's so bad.
2 seconds before Kiteness.
Yeah, if Kiteness, mixing it both up, was done, then maybe he pushes through, because there were very few units left over here, and you can imagine what extra armor would have done. But it doesn't overall seem like it would matter. The tempo is still going to always be in favor of Kelazur. He kind of did some almost like lazy drops, because he didn't really have to do any Super Saiyan mode here. He didn't have to have 5 drops microed with Liberator harassment. It was 1 while he kind of pushed, and that was clearly good enough. If he did need to go full Kelazur, then he would have. He just knew he was in a good position.
Yeah. But he said don't underestimate your opponents, so I guess like you should go Super Saiyajin every single game. Like, you're not microing that drop perfectly. I know you can do it.
Actually, yeah.
But we never know where players are actually looking at the instant we see like a lack of micro. So obviously, it's going to be tough. Should be a Bly revive.
Yes.
It's not like he played a bad game. He tried.
It wasn't, as I said, an uplifting game. But the only other concern would have been Cass and a TVT. But you'd really have to have Cass being like, yeah, my TVT is amazing. Like, I beat this guy all the time on ladder for him to be thrown out instead.
And then what? You send Turkey down. And he dies to Tempest and Carriers.
Yeah, that's what would happen.
He just doesn't want to drop with his Marines.
Yeah.
No, Bly, obvious revive. We mentioned it. Probably a best of 3 between those 2 players. It's happening right now. It's already a best of 3. But I do feel like, considering how smart Kelazur played this first game, I'm a little concerned for our good Bly. But now that I see that it's a biogenesis, I don't know.
Well, the thing is that it's really... I don't know how sneaky Bly can be. And Abiogenesis just feels like more of a sneaky map than a Zerg abuses this map versus Terran, you know? Because really what happens is that if you do go to the mid game in this matchup, Terran finds this map kind of enjoyable. So I am still very worried for Bly. But it is potentially the last game of this Nation War on Abiogenesis in the top left. As the red Terran for Brazil, it is chaoZer.
On the side of Ukraine, in the bottom right, he is their captain. He failed once, but now he needs to step it up. He is Bly.
Goes for a pull first, but that doesn't mean much.
Yeah, I think it's really expected on the map. It's like, even in the matchup, you would never say, oh, it's really weird that he went for a pull first. Like, some players, they will always go for that. I think maybe Snoot comes out as an example. He really does like his pull first, even on maps that are not that aggressive. But in this case, Bly, chaoZer showed a couple of 2 racks. And also, it's a really great map for it. Super short distance. I think getting those Zerglings early is never a bad decision. So I totally agree with Bly going for that. Gets the gas right after that. Hatchery has been placed down as well. I expected maybe a proxy hatch on this map from Bly, but it's out of the picture now.
Yeah, it kind of briefly flashed in my mind. Like, okay, how is he going to complicate things? Because I think chaoZer, if he scouts something, it's not that he has always the perfect response. I know a lot of Terrans that still fall to Roach Ravager rushes, for instance, even when they scout it, even with someone's like, hey, just do this, this, and this, and they're like, but I still don't get it. So
you can still mess up, but if you do know exactly what to do and you scout it early, usually you end up defending it.
Right, which is what chaoZer is depending on too. So his SCV scout at a very similar time, gets even faster, of course, on a smaller map, and sees that, hey, you need to go for a pull first, but you also went for a hatchery.
Okay, CC on the high ground. I like it from chaoZer. I think once again, we were talking about, you know, that small difference in your build order that you should use against Bly. Yeah, you know, Biogenesis, drop the CC on the high ground. Raise the depot is also a pretty good thing to do against Bly, but for that matter, against any Zerg player. So that's a pretty bad mistake here from chaoZer. We'll see what how he micros his way out of this one.
He really wanted to be able to do that whole, I think, delay the third base thing again, even more so now. They wouldn't have to worry about microing over here. But that's his unfortunate, as he has to pull back. The Reaper's here to clean things up. Supply depot is not going to get a raise.
Oh, if that's actually the first time that you use this line?
I've never thought about that before. It's amazing.
What a legend.
Thank you.
What a legend. I like it.
Yeah, thanks.
It's not going to get a raise. Indeed. You'll chase down the Overlord. I like it.
Yeah, I think
back in the day, I used to do that all the time. It's like, I hate those Overlords. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I hate them because if you go for Hellion harassment and you send those Hellions out immediately, it feels like they always get 10 things in your natural. And you're like, well, if the Overlord wasn't there, you wouldn't know to do that, would you? So.
And then you playing against a map hacker, it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, or there's that.
No, it's not like we've got a lot of map hackers anyways, but chaoZer. Doing pretty well for himself right now, getting some Hellions. He's got the Viking coming. But considering he goes for a Viking, I guess maybe it was not that important that he went for the barracks that early to chase down the Overlord, but whatever. He will scout third base and lair from Bly just before the 4th minute mark.
Just before. Roach Warren again. And this is so similar to what he did last game, and it really is that question where, like, if it's 15 seconds earlier, gosh, I'm really like, okay, Nidus, but it's always, is it not? And of course, chaoZer losing that Reaper would have loved to have seen confirmed that the Roach Warren is going to have to depend on some other means to do so. He did go for the Tech Lab eventually, but one that kind of nice thing about immediately going for the Tech Lab, not going for that lift on the barracks, is that Cloak would have already been farther along as you produce the Viking. But it won't really matter if you only need it against Roaches, or if this is a Nidus and there's an Overseer anyway. Like, the point is the Banshees provide damage, and that's going to be good, but he's committing to it.
For some reason, I kind of see the Nidus this time. I don't know.
You do, or you don't?
I do see it coming.
Oh, okay. Well, he's kind of... he's not building like a ton of Overlords, so I feel always like prefaces the Roach swell, but he does have supply for it. Nah,
Glial reconstitution, so might not be the case. Okay, Evo Chamber.
And
okay, I'm sorry, I was mistaken.
Oh.
And I'm gonna go for the quick infestation pit. Not as quick as before, but still quite speedy transition. And we'll see the factory play coming from Kelazur. It's going to be mech in this map.
Yeah, when he added on the tech lap to swap it over to the starport, I was already kind of, all right, that's going to be mech. It might seem almost like counterintuitive doing it on a very small map because you're maybe afraid of like a roach rush suddenly it attacks you before your tanks are ready. But really, if you're not afraid of dying, then obviously it works much better for the mech, for the tank player. You got these chokes, you got the instant push and the instant rally of otherwise slow units. It's also such a small map that you respond to pressure faster. So if it's only like harassment, then you can get to base to base to base much quicker, which sometimes works against Bio, by the way, on this map. Very frustrating when Zergs seem to be everywhere at once on a small map.
Yeah.
But you go from mech, you get all the abuse and no fear of dying either because there is no Nidus Room, there is no Roach Rush. It's up to Hive again.
Yeah, once again, with only single Evo, with the Carapace upgrade. And, yeah, a little bit more Roaches on the map this time, so the Hellions didn't find the damage. So you were wondering originally what would have happened, if the Hellions didn't get those million drones in an awkward timing. Well, this time it might be Banshees though, but not as much. Not as much, and actually a little bit slower than the last game. Only 7 drones instead of the 20-24 that went down, and also at a later timing. So we'll see if he can make it work, Bly that is, with that Ultra Rush. We also see Hydra then, which doesn't really make that much sense to me.
Well, I think he only just now realized it was mech, right? Because he hasn't gotten a scout otherwise, but he saw how many Hellions there were. So he wanted to go up to fast ultras against Bio, but against mech, you do want to have Roach, Hydra, Viper.
Yeah.
So he just has to kind of add on that tertiary element there, and he will upgrade. This turned out to be a lot more awkward than originally intended. The Banshees being offensive meant they weren't here to protect. There were no Cyclones. A lot of Hellions went down, SCVs went down, and the third CC stopped mining.
Yeah, that's a really sizable amount of damage that's coming from Bly here with 13 SCV and still raising, still counting, 15, 16 SCVs now for just a couple of Roaches, couple of Zerglings, and yeah, Kelazur not building a single Cyclone, using the Banshees aggressively. Well, it just ended up costing him quite a bit, and as you're playing mech, as you're playing a slower game, getting a slower third base, well, suddenly looks good for Bly. I like the position for him because he didn't invest that much. Like, just remember, those Roaches, they don't cost a thing.
Not really. Yeah, that just seemed like very awkward timing for Kelazur, who probably was like, oh, Roaches? Let me deal with the Hellions. Oh, wait, more Roaches? Let me deal with the Hellions. And then suddenly he had no Hellions. So the Banshees just should have been pulled back quicker. They should have also been just wary, I think, of that timing. Definitely a big mistake that Kelazur is going to have to try and repair. He is definitely behind because of that. But his double Thor drop doesn't have the potential to do very much now that Vipers are on the way. Abducts are already available.
If he gets to fourth base, that's already a really decent kill from him.
Oh, maybe not so easy.
See, Roaches and Hydras. Oh, he doesn't react. No boost.
Oh, whoa,
and that's
whoa,
two
whoa,
dead
whoa.
Thors.
That is
maybe he saved the second one. He will.
That is so dangerous to do, but Groovespines wasn't quite done. He is going to lose that medevac. This medevac's also getting dangerously close to the Hydras.
Let's go.
Drop it, yeah.
No, Thor's like, what are you going to do now? Huh? Huh?
Oh, wow. This was already...
Oh, my God. This is looking worse and worse for Kelazur.
It is. It absolutely is.
He lost everything that had a potentially the opportunity to kill some Roaches, kill some Hydras. He only does have 4 tanks. I didn't expect the number to be that high. I expected more on the lines of 2, but it doesn't really fix the major issue in this game, which is we are looking at a Zerg that, well, kept his fourth base alive, has Vipers already. Not the best upgrades in the game, but still, 63 drones. Is this really necessary, though?
I feel like maybe Bly could have played a safer game by waiting a little while longer, but it is such a comically small army for both parties. But now the wall is playing a part here. Vipers are dying. The Vikings aren't being targeted. What? Okay.
Let's go, drones.
Yeah, that's a thing. But the point is he still gets a third CC. He's going to get the 4th CC as well. Actually, he's going to literally kill them. Kill them.
Whoa. Okay.
There it goes.
Off screen, though. What's happening, Mapu?
Oh, Kelazur. Big mistakes resulting in this, what looks to be a win for Bly, but Bly has to be careful not to overextend with pure Hydra. Killing 2 bases, though. I think that's good enough.
And that Kelazur just pulls the boys.
with 4 tanks and a couple aliens.
You know what? You know, maybe.
Let's do this.
I don't know. But it's interesting you said it, like comically quite small armies from both sides. Because Bly rushing to Hive, meant to go for Ultralisk in this game super early and then had to switch it up a little bit because he was playing against Mech, but still had the Hive, didn't have that many drones, so just went for, you know, a small Roach Hydra timing with a couple of Vipers super early in the game. And at the same time, Kelazur lost a lot of units early on with the Hellions and the 2 Thors. So it's like, yeah, there wasn't that much for either of those 2 players, but the opportunity to get that 3rd base and that 4th base at the same time from Bly was just massive. And now puts him in an even better spot, can even go to Greater Spire right away.
This is, I think, going to be tricky for Kelazur to scout, but this engagement's also going to be tricky as 2 Blinding Clouds go down and just take away most, if not all, of his army. 2 tanks on the high ground.
Blue Flame though.
Not bad, but
pretty well aligned.
Wait, the tanks are going to be enough.
Yeah,
he's going to deal with this. But
he's going to be able to deal against to deal with this, and that's a lot of Hydralisks that went down the drain. So now he just needs to scout. Like if he doesn't see the Broodlords, I guess it's lights out.
Right, and I was mentioning it's hard to scout, not just because you literally won't send a scan down. I hope that he does, but I'm guessing he won't. It's also like, it's such a hard game to call, I think. Is it like, is his army that small because it's surprisingly fast and there's about a back and forth, or is it that small because he's teching? And it's just, you know, it's a bit difficult of a game to call. So
why would you show your Corruptors?
I don't know. Fear. He's like, I just killed you with the Corruptors, so don't even need to see the Broodlords. Perfect. Called it.
Okay. GG. Now, obviously, this game was quite tough for our good friend Kelazur on this one, but it's just like the ending caught me a little bit off guard right there. It's like, okay, I'm going to kill Vikings and then more Broodlords on top of your face.
It made sense. Like, there's no way you can afford to go for Thors. It literally just lost all of his Hellions, which is a really sad position when a mech player is having trouble reproducing Hellions. So
it's a bad feeling.
It was a clumsy game from Kelazur.
Yeah.
It was such a nice, refined game on Catalyst, and then a clumsy game because of this moment.
Yeah, and even, you know, getting those Zerglings inside the main, getting the proper scout, losing a couple of SCVs, also getting these factory delays. I think it was a lot, but it's interesting because as it was happening, it was like, okay, it's not that bad, and then suddenly you're not looking at 3 SCVs dying. You're like 4, 5, 6, 7. Where are the rest of the units? You have nothing but Hellions?
This was bad enough, and then just more roaches come. Yeah. So
typical Bly timing. It's like, okay, he does have more roaches. I just don't get it. Yeah, even like microing it pretty well in the end, reaching the number of 16 SCVs dead. So really good opening here and nice damage on the side of Bly. First attack. Yeah, there's really nothing on the side of Bly, but either on Kelazur's, and if most of your units can't even fight because of the Abducts and the Blinding Clouds, made it super hard. I mean, he had 5 drones in the army, which made it super hard for Kelazur to handle.
We did miss the Thor drops being taken out, which was not just huge for the lack of damage potential on Kelazur to Bly. It was also something that 2 Thors and 2 Medivacs really would have helped out in that fight.
Yeah.
The Thors are in single target mode. They actually can take out Vipers, and maybe they don't get the 1 Abduct or the 1 Blinding Cloud, and then also they're tanky. So while they don't do a lot of damage to an army like that, well, they don't seem to anyways. They do pack a punch. It just doesn't seem that way.
Yeah, they shoot slowly, but every time they do, it's like, oh, okay, that's actually kind of good.
They do tank a lot, so.
And then you're like, I should use them against Protoss, right?
Yeah, no.
And then you're like, no.
Oh, God,
no, the Immortal exists, you know, and the Charge Zealot,
and the Archon,
Blink Stalker.
Like, I feel like everything.
Everything counters it. Kelazur will be revived, right?
Absolutely.
Kelazur. So the best of 3 did happen. It's 1-1 now. You guys are potentially right.
Potentially. Now you just, I love the flip-flop that happens when it goes past our scores. And now we just hope that the entire team loses in the prediction because Ukraine wins.
No, I wouldn't say that. I just want to see a great game. And if Ukraine wins it, it's cool. But it's okay. I would be happy either way. I think those 2 teams can produce a nice best of 7 after that against Poland. And that's also, you know, why I'm not, particularly biased for any of those two teams, even though, now that I lost my prediction, maybe slightly towards Ukraine. But no, I think both of those teams can play a competitive best of 7 against Poland, and made a best team win.
I don't think you have to worry about us losing any points, man. I think Kalazur's got this, as it is going to be Neon Violet Square for the last map, and I think we'll see Mech again. I mean, the big problem there was that he underestimated how many roaches being sent across the map. To lose 20 SCVs tilted him so that he also lost the Thors. Big tumble down effect. Now we have Neon Violet Square where those roaches should not do that again anyways, and it's even better for Mech. We saw him take his one victory against Cyril on this map.
What about a Turax?
On Neon?
That'd be super crazy.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to
Don't
look
be
cool.
crazy.
It's like, what about a Turax? Oh my god, a Turax, Happened once with Kalazur this season. But no, not gonna go for that. As we introduce the players in the bottom right, as the Red Terran has to win that best of 3 against the opposite team captain to make it to the last game. It is Kalazur.
In the top left, once again going for that pool first, it is the blue Zerg Bly for Ukraine.
Yeah, so much tension on this game. Super important for those two guys to get the win and qualify for the deciders match and have the opportunity to qualify to the quarterfinals. That'd be for either of those teams, I do believe it would be a first. Brazil, 100%. Ukraine, I'm trying to remember, maybe first or second season. There weren't that many teams.
So Ukraine in the first season was top 4 or something. I
Top
think.
4?
Well, I remember reading it on their profile that popped up, and I was surprised. I don't think I had watched Nation Wars 1.
I think it was a really, really small event. It was only 12 teams, I think, or maybe 8. I can't remember. Okay. 12. Was casted back at Meltdown, right?
Wow.
Before that, it was interesting, and obviously the players weren't there. But it was, just the first glimpse of what would be.
What could be.
An amazing tournament.
Exactly.
I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope you enjoyed this game, because it is the last one between Brazil and Ukraine. The winner will get to play against Poland.
Yep. Yeah, if whoever loses here is just out of the tournament entirely, whoever wins still has a huge hurdle to jump over in the form of Poland. No matter who wins here, it's just, I don't see anyone having an easy time against that nation. So Bly, once again being scouted here with Kalazur's very simple SCV scout, should not be getting those roaches, as I said before. But then on the same hand, Kalazur shouldn't be getting those 25 drones. So maybe we'll finally have a game that is, no damage done for 9 minutes.
Fair and square,
Yeah.
Let's play a normal game. Let's, no rush, 10 minutes. Did you play Brood War back then?
I really played Brood War 2012. And
I see. Okay.
Because I was playing on the N64 when it was,
there were actual people playing Brood War in N64.
Oh, totally. Well, it wasn't Brood War, first of all.
Oh,
it was just StarCraft. Yeah.
No medics.
We had the special missions that I don't even remember what they were. And I remember I did not know that you could control group in that game. I only learned that.
How do you control group with an N64
the yellow...
the yellow stick?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah, I had no idea.
The C
so
stick.
I learned about this, years ago, but not when I was playing. And I was like, how the hell did I play this game?
Oh my god. The reason I was asking, because there was a lot of no rush 20, no rush 15, stuff like that in Brood War. And I remember playing those when I was a kid. I was like, oh my god, 3v3 no rush 20 on Hunters. Like, what was I doing with my life? Like, if I could only stop playing a game after 20 minutes of macroing, like, how much time did I have? It was so good. I want to go back.
I was playing Warcraft, really, when everyone else was playing Brood War, I suppose.
Warcraft 3?
Warcraft 3 Frozen
okay.
Throne, yeah. And I don't ever remember playing a single 20-minute no rush or 10-minute no rush. I do remember a lot of team games, though. But anyways.
Warcraft was amazing as well.
It was, and I don't remember exactly what I did, but I did remember that I was okay at it. I was able to teach other people how not to be bad or worse than me. So, I knew something, but obviously not enough to get involved in the scene and whatnot.
Okay, Lair and Roaches and Roach Wine. Same build, once again, from Black. Do we see the Nidus this time?
That layer is earlier, right? Like, that is 20,
yeah, 20 seconds earlier. You're right.
Yeah, that is a little concerning. So whether it's a... Oh, whoa, whoa, wait a second, guys.
What a living legend.
Did he cancel the Roach Warren?
No. I think it was done. I think we saw it.
And
yeah, finished.
Okay, cool.
It was still clicked by Mapu. What an amazing guy.
Yeah, he knew.
So, Spire, could it be like the best map to try and do it because of the pocket expand and the 2 geysers that you can get from those?
That's a good question. That's a good point. I think there's a couple things going into it, right? 1, you expect roaches in this game as Kelazur because that's what Sply has been doing. 2, Kelazur is expected to go mech perhaps because that's what he did versus Serral. And then 3, you do have that back pocket expansion with the gas geysers to help out with this build. But unfortunately, one of those things isn't here. You know,
it's bio.
It's bio, not mech. So while Aspire can really catch a mech player who doesn't have Thors off guard, doesn't have an engineering base, so even if they do get Thors, it's like maybe they're doing something else or just still getting out multitasked. There's just going to be a lot of bio available. So how is this really going to play out for Bly?
Yeah, it's interesting. I like it that Kelazur wants to switch things up once again and showed a lot of mech play and just, you know, suddenly goes back to bio. At least on this map that he showed mech, and they actually talked about it in the interview, in the pre-game interview. It's like, oh, this game, you know, on the Inviolate, I thought he would not. Like, Bly knows. Bly knows entirely what Kelazur did on this map, and now maybe because of that expects the mech, goes for the mutas, and might be a little bit sad. Even though there's a lot of Hellions on the map, it's mostly Marines that are coming out of the Kelazur's productions facility. Same goes for a couple of tanks.
Yeah.
Don't want to miss your armory timing. It's going to come fairly soon.
Yeah, soon.
Just like now.
We should mention that, like, while this seems to be playing a little more against Bly's plan, perhaps, we're not in his head after all, it is still a surprise Spire. You know, at the end of the day, that can still do damage. There's no missile turrets already up. The Marines will be either in medevacs or in a ball at the 3rd. They won't be spread around. So the mutas are going to be able to get reactors, but, I mean, I think they should just go straight for the SCV kills, and they will get enough to maybe warrant the actual Spire being made and mutas being made. I mean, already 6 is pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's already worth it. I mean, 8 SCVs plus every single Marine going to the main base, so now the natural is a little bit exposed.
A tank?
Tank?
Ooh, and Marauders,
that's the first
maybe?
one. Maybe
or
you get
tank.
2. You will get 3 tanks.
Oh,
you get a tank. And you also get a tank.
No,
it's pretty amazing. Can you get the 3rd one? No.
Ooh, that
it is worth it. Like, it's instantly worth it. If he loses 25 drones, then suddenly all that work has been done for nothing. But
yeah.
I like it. It's like, I'm losing drones, let's build 30 more.
At least Kelazur gets something done. He also scouts to see that it is, in fact, follow-up of roaches, because I guess that was still a question mark for him. And he also sees that it's not like a fast, absurdly timed hive. So it's still good that he got in there.
Bly is getting some work done.
He really is. And these are just, it's all the mutas have to do. They could die as long as they buy a lot of time. Well, okay, I don't think you want them to die like that.
No.
But the point is, like, they've already kind of done enough, and just by existing, they've already done something. So, yeah, maybe they shouldn't have died like that. But he's on to better things. Well, slightly better things. I mean, his roaches aren't well upgraded. He will have to depend a lot on corrosive bios and these infestors to really be safe, because Kelazur still has a fairly strong army. But the tank snipes were also so beautiful. Like, they were... They put fear in the heart of Terrans, I think.
Yeah,
They're like, oh my god, what if he just goes with roaches now? Like, I have no tanks.
And that's the thing, like, right? I mean, Kelazur, it looked like he wanted to go for an attack. He postured himself to go across the map and deal some damage, but went back a little bit. He feels super caught off guard right there. And those mutas, can't believe. Probably about 15 SCVs, I think, in total. 2 tanks.
Yeah.
Now keeps the pressure on with some roaches. And now there's just, you know, the appropriate number of roaches.
Yeah.
You can't drop those Marines.
I think his combat chills is like the slightest bit late as well because of having to deal with everything. This Banshee is, you know, the safety Banshee, so he can deal with this. And he's going to even try and pick up some roaches because they'll trade very well here, especially if he makes a Marauder. What a boss. And he needs these wins. Bly is currently like an okay supply because it is roaches that he's on, but of course he is waiting for... Why? That's supposed to be an Ultraless Cavern. Oh no.
Oh, the infestation pit?
That, he already has one, and he already has a hive too. 100% supposed to be an Ultraless Cavern.
No Bly.
That is a fairly important timing, maybe? Huh.
Okay, goes for a Greater Spire. One of the advantage of opening early mutas as well. You know,
That's
I
true.
already have the structure. It's nice. For now, this double drop's not going to do anything. You know what? Like, that's the moment I wish Bly would just go a little bit more ham on the drone count. It's like, it feels to me that he could have had like 75 drones a couple of minutes back, right? And he doesn't go for it. Like, if you are good with your creep spread, you know that your opponents cannot attach. Just go a little bit better, you know, a little bit further in terms of drones. But, you know, slight critic.
Yeah, it's a very small issue because he has done an okay amount, and there is always that fear, I think, even if you think you're in an okay position where I'm getting so much tech, can I really also do the drone thing? And he could have it, maybe save how he played it here. He's finally on his way to the Ultra's Cavern. It turns out that timing wasn't the biggest issue. He needs to pick up.
Oh.
Thankfully, now in Legacy of the Void.
Oh, see, okay. Units do die in the medevac.
Yeah, now we
Went
get that
for 4
tested.
to 1. And now that's another fungal that will land. And the corrosive ball will land as well. And the second medevac dies. What? Bly is playing amazingly this game. Like, it started with some mutas that we said that might not be that effective, yes.
But they were.
Because of the fact that it was bio. But then I always forget about this amazing laser attack from the infested rockets. When did
can't they just be
Marines have rockets?
Can't they just be regular rockets? I mean,
no, they're infested.
Why are they infested?
They're infested.
Okay,
they're purple.
These Broodlords could be GG Broodlords.
GG Lord.
I mean, Bly could mess up the attack and get concaved, and then his Broodlord side of Marines, but it's well, it's going to be scouted. At least Kelzer has some.
He
could kill those.
He could kill the eggs of those two Broodlords. He will actually click the hatch. He can get both of them, I think.
He
will get the hatch. He will get the two Broodlords.
All right.
No fungal. This was what Kelzer needed, and he needed it fast, and he got it. So that's really good for him. Keeps him in a decent, well, still in a playable position. Not decent at all, but still playable position. And maybe Bly goes for it a little bit too much now. But it's like Chitinous and Broodlords.
It's a lot, but he can kind of afford it, can he? Kelzer, I was going to say, need to just embrace the fact that it's going to be a late game TVZ. Oh, yeah. He went bio. He wanted more momentum in the mid game. He could not get it. Just absolutely not going to get it. So he's got to go into Ghost. He's got to start thinking about starport transitions, like really, really late game stuff. I'm glad that they got the planetary here. It's not quite done, but without the Broodlords, I don't think Bly can push in, and his Broodlords are trailing a little far behind.
He's got 6 of them. I thought he had a little bit less, but that seems to be quite dangerous. So the Planetary Fortress
I think he should have lifted it. I think he should have given up on it.
Really?
With the scan, he could have just like a couple of seconds to let it cancel and then lift. Yeah, because I think it needs these ghosts. The ghosts are just like, the timing here is so close, but with only 4, so I'm not going to take out all Broodlords in an instant. It's still going to be very tricky.
Okay. Well, at least the gold base is being mined from right now. And seeing how broke he is, I think he does need a little bit more of income. Bly not controlling this fight perfectly. He lost a couple of free roaches, free ravagers. As the double job goes back at the opposite side of the map, the snipes comes in. The Viking comes from the side and gets a little bit more damage done. And now that the Broodlords are gone, or almost gone, and suddenly you don't have anything to push with.
Yeah. There's a couple of different problems there, but we'll talk about that later as this drop is being just surprisingly effective. Finally, Bly sends an Ultra over here, but it did get a handful of drones. Maybe it could have been microed a little bit faster. It does die, so maybe not truly a good trade, but it at least maybe distracted Bly so that the composition, the engagements rather, did not go as well as anticipated. He did take that clumsy kind of, I'm mostly depending on powerful units.
Yeah.
So it's still not easy for the Terran, but it is a little bit easier than when like Lings are also flooding through and the Broodlings are attacking the tanks. And no, it actually kind of was a face-to-face. It went well for Kelzer.
Yeah, and now that you know that Bly's momentum has been stopped, I'm now super worried for him. Even though he's still in a playable position, he maxed out, but he has only 59 drones. He doesn't have like 2 hatches going somewhere to get some more bases going for himself. Then drops a Baneling Nest that he didn't have before after 40 minutes. It's just like, I feel like when Bly goes for those super heavy late game compositions like this, he does it with like massive momentum, right? Like I will rush to it. It will be something that you don't expect, or at least don't have anything to fight against. And now suddenly, Calazur does have the units. It did max, and we don't have that amazing economy that, again, like Serral might have at this moment in the game. Like we're 15 minutes in, he has 75 drones, he's banking minerals, he's banking gas. That's just not happening on the side of Bly right there.
It is a little worrying. You know, Calazur has kind of embraced the late game. He's doing definitely the right call here, mostly staying at home, but then dropping. That's definitely the right move as he grows his ghost count. But Bly should also be embracing the super late game and expanding twice, at least, I want to say, to the gold and then the 12 o'clock, or maybe the 9 o'clock. I can do a clock. But it's just not happening.
I was exactly thinking that. Like, I never try to do it because I always mess it up. That's a good... That's a good interception from our good friend Bly, but it's just mostly Marines and a Medivac. And since we're not seeing the end of the game right now, right away, I don't think it's going to matter that much. Let's see about the ghost count. How many ghosts are we looking at?
A lot.
15!
Yeah. He mostly depended on the tech labs for ghosts. So
Planetary
that
Fortress.
is really nice, but it's not being
Fungal?
repaired. And the fungal.
Oh my god!
Is Kelso not? He's not even... Oh, okay, there we go. There's the sim.
Yes, the army needs to be stim. Oh my god, the Ultra is getting wrecked. And at the same time, the Planetary Fortress just fell. And now Bly just doesn't pull back and he loses everything.
He's going to lose those
It started so well, though.
It did. I think that's totally worth it for Calazur. He traded out army, still has 1,000 minerals. He traded out better with his army, and he can replace those command centers. Corrupt, there's obviously some army supply that we just don't have to consider for Bly. As Calazur pushes across the map, they're going to look for something. If they find missile turrets.
Orbital?
There we go. They're looking for the orbital.
Okay, what about, no fungals available because Calazur is going super crazy right there. He's got most of his bio ball in like orange health. That orbital will fall. The ghost will try to... keep the army and the corruptors in check, but they will be able to escape while getting a Medivac. Calazur was on it, tried to use the boost, but it was not enough. But see, Bly, 54 drones and 4 bases. We're 70 minutes in. It is just not enough.
Right. Like, if he did have those bases that Calazur, in fact, is just scanning right now, already set up and then lost the fight, well, he just transfers what is still like an okay drone count, although obviously 65 would be better. As it is, Bly taking some big damage to his army, has replaced it for the most part. He also has those infestors back on the way and now has Lings and Banelings to really complicate issues for Calazur.
Yeah, mentally speaking, I think it's also not good at all for Bly. Like, I've seen him throw away advantages, and you can tell it's really it's a massive impact on his mental state. I think, and in this game, I think he knows that he had that massive opportunity. Obviously, Calazur did super well with the double drop as a counter attack and the first defense, with the ghost coming at the last possible moment. But now it's just like Bly lost the momentum and now has to transition into a proper late game, as you said multiple times, embracing the actual late game. And he's just not that kind of player, I think. And now, well, I see Calazur super in control and Bly just trying to, put everything back in order, but it takes him a long time.
He's the type of player that embraces the late game with his composition, but not necessarily with his, like the map.
Macro?
The macro. So, that's all well and good if his engagements are good. But he has lost, I think, officially you can say he's lost every engagement. Like, when the Ghost came out, he might have traded with Command Center, so it's not an official, just terrible trade. But army to army, he has lost out. So that's what's worrying, is that it depends on this huge army that is quite good, but it has to be backed up with economy in case it does go south, in case the snipes do go off, as they have been.
Yep. And, it looked okay to start things off. That first fight with Ghost against Infestors with massive fungals. But just in the end, I think he pulled back a little bit too late.
Even that turned on him.
Yeah, it was kind of sad to see because it was an amazing start for this. Okay, Mapu, I want to see the perfect nuke. How do you call that?
Camera
follow. Yeah, it's there's a cinematographic term.
Yeah, he's
traveling. Like do it well. Do it better than last time. I think you can do it better.
It's a super fancy term.
Yes.
Just do it well.
Do it. No, traveling. I think.
Is it really traveling? Interesting. I would have no idea.
Well,
but
it's
yeah,
like
do it good.
If you don't move to the left or right, but just move the the position, I guess it counts as a traveling.
Okay.
Our camera operator
you.
doesn't really know. He looks at me, he's like, "Hey, you're on your own, buddy."
Oh, I love seeing this.
Yes.
Kills are out on the one nuke, but then he's really just going into, okay, I have a comfortable economy. Obviously, Bly is trying to repair his, so this is the time to add on all these important structures, and then we might just see that mass Raven late game. But nuke harassment is so fun.
Yes.
And
That was beautiful.
Well done, Maku.
I loved it.
Might not be as beautiful as that nuke if Bly does not move those drones. Okay.
Okay.
Whoa, that was close.
That was quite close. And now, woo, that was that body went super far away.
It's a ghost death.
It's nice that that ghost just had like his personal ultralisk and overseer to take care of him. It's perfect. And now we see 3 nukes at a time. So this game definitely went into that super heavy late game kind of TVZ that we see a lot on the Violet Square. It's one of the best maps to do it. Let's see if Bly, now that he recollected himself, I would say, can do the job, can do the trick, and knows how to fight against those composition. Like, he needs to play it super well. He needs to play it slow and steady. Just take a little bit more base.
Yeah,
a little bit more.
I do wish you would take another base right now.
2 more bases.
But he's starting to bank because nothing has happened, so I guess it's maybe later. So I do think that if you're facing a very, very good late game Zerg, let's go with Rogue as the typical example, I do think that you just are kind of mandatory have to go for Ravens. That's one of the reasons why I think Blizzard was so afraid to really nerf them, was that I think a lot of Terrans were like, no, we really need them. So far, Bly hasn't looked like, Rogue, which is hard to do. And
it is quite hard, I think.
Ghosts have been good enough, but I think once Bly has collected himself, he does start really kind of judging the engagements a little bit better. He will, Kelzer will have to go for Ravens added on. And that's what he's doing here now. He's even adding on more of the air upgrades and, of course, all the nukes for harassment. He also does need to start worrying about the creep a little bit more, as he just can't harass very easily when Bly sees the entire map. He literally has to cloak his ghost and then move across the map.
Ooh, Corruptor is still in pretty decent numbers here. Might be able to take down that CC. A couple, just one Infester. Burrowed. One at the top of the ramp, not even burrowed. We'll use the first Scrambler missile. Is that it?
Well, it's no longer Scrambler. Scrambler was so much better than Interference Matrix or Anti-Armor missile.
Anti-Armor.
Yeah, it was Anti-Armor.
Okay, the missile. We'll call it this way.
Oh, that's
hey,
awkward.
Ghosty, there's a spore next to you, buddy.
I think that's the best thing a Zerg can do is put spores in kind of like far-off locations. Because at that point, the Terran's not paying attention to the ghost. They're like, just go somewhere and then nuke.
It's just like, if you play that kind of late game situation, why is Kelazur expanding towards the bottom side of the map? I would like to see him take the right side of the map. I think it's way easier for him to defend it.
I guess because he just did and he got denied. I do agree. Like right now would be the perfect time. He also needs to get sensor towers. He is missing some of the, well, if we're going to go with the Supreme late game Terran example, he's missing some things that TY would have, right? Which I think is more stack defense. Missile turrets make it so that the Corruptors can't come in and help out. Obviously they detect anything that's burrowed. And then sensor towers so you know exactly where to move your army.
All right, we've got 2 nukes in the bank. 44 Marines that he wants to trade out at some point. I think those will be rather useless at some point. You can keep like maybe 15 or something like that, but 44 is a pretty high number.
Yeah.
Those snipes, they will land.
Yeah, barely.
Like, there was nothing there to get the cancel on the canalization. No Zerglings, no Infester, no Fungal. Can he get an EMP? EMP might be quite useful as well, I mean.
No, Snipe's effective. The Ghost lived. So, more upgrades. Another nuke. I think it is going to be around that time where you drop and then send 2 nukes. So, one on the army, maybe, but then one on the base. And usually something gets done. This drop does not grab the hatchery, but future drops just might. This at least kills Creepsford, which I know is a very common thing to say. Like 100 Creepsford, is it really worth it? But as long as you're denying it, because usually the Zerg stop spreading creep at this point. If it's gone, it's gone after 20 minutes.
It depends on who you're playing against.
That's true.
I think Sue might have something to say about it. Okay, now the big decision comes from Bly. 12 brood rolls were just made. He gets finally some upgrades going for himself. That's also something that's concerning with the state of the game for Bly, is that it doesn't get those air upgrades that quick. I wish, considering the bank he has, but he had a slightly better upgrade. Actually, he has +2 armor, which is interesting. Went for armor fast. So I guess it's not that bad. But you could still make it a slightly better. This ghost, once again, just wanted to die, apparently. Ultralisk might get this last shot. What? It's the third shot that missed. I can't believe.
Okay. The Sport Crawler route's really quite fast. But this is the... Yeah, there we go. You do something 2 at once, and it gets a little trickier. So, second nuke might just deal damage, but Bly would not be too concerned about losing that base as long as he has enough mining. And he should just probably take the bottom left anyways. Kelazur, I guess, was missing Liberators, but considering that Broodlords came out first, we kind of just skipped talking about them. So now he's getting to them.
Kelazur is broke, though. Like, he's got a massive problem with not taking that base on the bottom side while actually taking it, but taking it super slow because of how aggressive Bly was. Then he's kind of broke. So let's see. Those missiles, they would connect perfectly on the Broodlords. They remove the armor, which is not that useful with snipes. But for now, Ghosts are doing their job, and... Even though Kelazur is broke, he has that army that for now looks like, well, Bly just can't do anything against it.
Well, he does get a 1 blanket fungal, 2 blanket fungal, but there's just so many ghosts that he still misses about half of them. So very worrying. The snipes maybe could have come down. He's constantly losing out on the high ground vision, which is very annoying.
Okay, let's see. Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, such a good sound.
22 ghosts.
He's cloaked for so long, I really want him to stop.
Yeah, just uncloak, buddy.
Yeah, okay, good.
He did it.
And he saved those ravens, right? Yeah, they're right there.
Okay.
Blind.
There's a lot of units on the screen.
Don't
be too hard. Don't be too hard on yourself.
But he's also adding more, because that's really where the concern of the bank comes in, is that he's not to the almost unbreakable composition that we see from some Terrans. If he was there with like 15 ravens and the rest of this army, I'm like, I'll get the bases. Don't worry about it. But it's still that concerning point, and he does desperately need to get even another base. Like, Bly is not sending too many units across the map too often. I feel like Kelazur could have snuck in a base to the right, the other right base, but a single Ling was denied this entire time. Oh, that's painful.
You know, Kelazur, well, it looked, when he defended the early attacks with Broodlords, with Ultralisk, it looked like, well, to me, sounded like a really bad spot for a Bly, but now...
Yeah.
Looking at 8,000 minerals and 3,000. I was about to say 9,000. I was like, no, it's not possible. 3,000 gas and a little bit more bases, and especially Kelazur doesn't have any bases going for himself.
Yeah.
Like only the bottom one. I guess it's the 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And might need the 3 o'clock, but just can't get it because of a single Zergling that's now 20 million Zerglings and an Ultralisk.
I think when you were talking about how you thought Bly was in an okay position, let's turn this to a Ling run by. You were right, or Bly was in a difficult position rather.
Yeah.
You were right, but it's like both of them had the opportunity to take a lot of expansions. Bly took 3 and Kelazur took 1.
Yes.
So, and then they just never really improved in that way either. So we were being harsh on Bly. We also could have changed over to Kelazur, but it was
definitely. No. It's, I mean, but the thing is, the difference is, I feel like Terran can't really, especially if you're playing that late game style, you can't really pressure those bases. So it's more a question of, does Kelazur realize that's the main focus he should be on? Like that Zergling, just go and kill him. You know, just go and kill it. Get a couple tanks or something to defend the base with. As the Zerg can posture himself as he did on the bottom side to just avoid for the Terran to take those bases.
You know what? I'm going to be harsh on Kelazur right here, right now.
Let's go.
No center towers still.
Yeah.
I know that he mostly knows what's happening. It's about the left side. I get that. The army should be there. But a center tower on the right side combined with a couple of those tanks that are still in the middle of the map having not done anything, they're still there. 2 and then 2 to the right side. They could have taken that base probably and secured it. Just as long as they get to planetary, and then that's pretty secure, right? And now a center tower is absolutely necessary as you are spread almost across the map, and he still refuses to get even 1.
Okay, nuke to the north side. Let's see if we get to see a second one. The Ghost, they will take care of those Zerglings quite well. As you can see, they do quite well against Zerglings. Just cloak it. Nice. Nuke will land. 2 drones. The middle of the map. Well, north east side of the map. Couple of Marines will get chased on. Okay, those Ghosts. I don't know if you want to go there, Bly, or maybe. There's a lot of infestors, and the fungal will land. So those Ghost snipes will not be used. Scramble missile will connect with most of the armies, but that's a lot of ghosts that just went down.
Oh, God. But his anti-air missiles did actually take out the Overseers. Initially, I was like, why did you do that? But it ended up working out, so the Ghost lived. Maybe a lot more of them could have died. He still lost a ton. Resources lost, probably. Still favorite Bly, perhaps? No, definitely not. Well, I want to, for that fight, I guess, specifically, but I guess I wouldn't know for the fight.
There is no fight recap, you know?
There's no fight recap, but it's more about compositions anyways. Like, how many ghosts died right there? Half
should
of
be
them?
the fight recap.
Yeah, probably. Half of them?
Let's take a look at how many ghosts there is. I think he lost a little bit less than that.
A little bit less than half?
Yeah, I think
it could have been a lot scarier.
He had 22, right?
It could have been a lot scarier without the Overseers being sniped too.
Yeah.
So.
It was a tough fight, but Bly gave a lot of units away.
Yeah, that would have been worth it, I think, maybe if he had gotten the rest of the ghosts, but he didn't, so doesn't matter. Well, matters a lot for Kelazur, actually.
Okay, let's see. Does these ghosts have the time to land the nuke? It's okay. With +3 armor, it should be okay.
He's
then get the fight. He gets the hatch, gets the fight, dies to
the Broodlings.
Dies to the Broodlings.
Awesome. And with that fight in mind,
Marauder.
Kelazur, of course, not the one able to remax, so Bly's in that position that every Zerg wants to find themselves in with. Even when they're losing and the resources lost, they are winning in the economy. And finally, Kelazur gets some sensor towers. I'm so happy. He's also getting Liberators to help with the stationary defense. Again, those tanks move to the middle of the map, go to the right side, left side, and Liberators. It's always going to be risky for Bly to move in, because then the Ghost might just respond. But Kelazur has to worry about the next base continuously here. Oh my good God. Oh boy.
So, I guess the best strategy, yes. Control I, and we just wait.
It's
going to be 3K.
A lot of meals. That is a lot of meals.
It's going to be 3K 5, 3.5, 3.8.
Yeah, he's going to instantly mine out of there. But he also needs gas, which
it's obscene. Just stop it.
He can't mule gas, which is Blizzard wanted to try.
Yeah, didn't last for long, right?
No, a month maybe.
Yeah, was it live at some point, or just on the PTR? Only PTR.
Yeah.
I haven't get to play the. I haven't get to play it. It's a little sad.
Yeah. Kelazur having still not remaxed from that earlier fight. It's all about the gas, I guess, with the mules now giving him an appropriate amount of minerals. He really wants to get the next base as soon as possible, but it's really one base at a time here for this guy. One day at a time, right?
So how many bases do we have on the side of Bly? We still have 2, 3, 4 that are mining currently. And he mines, more than his half of the map. Just a little bit more. Not that much, but...
That creep spread's still pretty insane, too.
Yeah, it is pretty sick, though.
He did bother replacing it on the far left side, which is amazing.
And now he's got spores. Still a little bit late, but he does have a wall of spores that will help out. What about those upgrades now? We're looking at 2, 3 in terms of air upgrades. 2 attack, 3 defense for our Zerg player, as we have 3, 3, 3. Well, all the upgrades are done for Kelazur.
Yes.
Always a nice sight.
He really needs to get some nukes on this creep spread and the spore crawlers as well. I know nukes can seem to be just the 50 drone killer, and you hope that it is, but you also need to worry about the SAC defense that the Zerg has right up against you. It'd be a different story, I think, if Kelazur was winning the right side while Bly was winning the left side and there was a stalemate here. But Bly is just winning kind of all of the map and also putting a stalemate in the middle so that Kelazur isn't pushing any army fights again.
I guess, like, the late game army with Ravens, with Ghosts, with Nukes is slightly better on the side of Terran these days, so people could argue it's way better, I don't know. But I guess if he gets the last available base, I think he can live with having one less base than his opponent, right? I think his units are supposed to be slightly better if he takes the fight appropriately. And maybe he would have mined way less in this game, but still do a decent job in fighting against a late-game army of Zerg. But he needs this base. Like, he needs to take it at some point.
Yeah. This is, again, a situation where Bly is not pushing that base and Kelazur is not pushing the expansion. I mean, we're all seeing gods up here, and we know what's going on, but Kelazur has a million things to worry about, including still kind of worrying about this middle part, which obviously there hasn't been an attack there for some time, but it's always a worry. But he should be continuing to push creep back, nuking everywhere, expanding everywhere, doing about 1 billion things at once, and he's only doing about 1,000 things at once.
Yeah. Okay, gonna go. Well, at least maybe a little bit more effort of throwing 2 nukes at the same time, as you said, would help a lot.
Yep.
But it did go for a nuke in the top right, but also went for a drop. And those Marines, they will get the job done in the end. They don't have to wait for a billion seconds to land their attack. They do it right away. Now pushing a little bit of the spore wall.
No.
Bly.
Good lord.
Bly.
No.
Bly.
Oh, I thought he had canceled that. Okay. We're good. Bly's okay. He's fine.
It would be so good, though.
Yeah. The good news is about this base, funnily enough, as we go to the very, very long game, is that while this is being denied, which is great, no drones went there, no drones went there to mine. So even though it's taken Killzer a very long time to grab the right side of the base, the minerals are mostly still there.
Lol. Oh, so sick. What happened? Okay, another snipe
died.
on the infestor died, and then suddenly
So
the
you
ghost
turn
comes
around
in.
and do the EMP, man, on the end ghost.
That would have been sick.
Oh,
and then
so sick.
build a Zerg nuke.
That's not a great sign. I don't think Killzer knew about that.
The army in the bottom left?
The
Or-
base in the bottom left.
I think he knew. He,
Oh, you know,
he
you're
pushed
right.
a little
He
bit
did.
with
He
some
did with the
Marauders.
Marauders. But then he just sent his planetary over there anyways.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna, be there anyways.
What?
Well, no, you won't. But yeah, you're right. Can we click on those minerals just for a bit? Yeah, it's
They might mind a little.
just a little bit.
I think it could have been a lot worse considering like the base like to the left of that one is clearly still not being killed, and it's going to be out. It's going to be out by the time Killzer makes his way back over there.
Interesting new positioning. Maybe it's tough to see though.
It is.
It is.
If only he had the Nation Wars 5 nuke tag.
here spray.
Yeah, then he could hide it underneath the spray.
Imagine
Could
how
have played the
broken
long
that would
con.
be.
Oh.
And then they have to ban it
Yeah.
from tournaments.
Well,
Well, actually, usually
I mean-
you just don't get to use any
Exactly, I was going
any
to say.
sprays and
So this is looking a bit better on the pushing front for Killzer, right? Like he still hasn't expanded to the whatever 2 o'clock that would be base, and I really wish he would just to secure it already. But I guess it's still open for grabs. He is starting to push the creep back, push the sagged fence back, and make Bly constantly worry about being nuked on his army. So
I like it that
cracklings,
there's
man.
a Viking that goes back to defend against this. Like,
anything you can
let's
grab.
go! Let's go, Viking! Oh my God! He
Whoa!
forgot about the units in the middle, but the scrambler missile, I can't believe. That was
No, but the parasitic bombs are still on! Oh, the parasitic bombs are still clumped up over the Ravens. So many of them died, and so many of them are so low.
Okay, can we take a look at how many Ravens just died? Okay, 9 in total. I think maybe in
was
this
scary.
fight like 6, 7. Yeah, that was a lot.
That was very scary because like 3 more almost died as well.
Okay, Bly saw it. Once again, that was quite close, but he did see the little red dots. Okay, now the creep recedes once again. You need to repair those. I think those SCVs are there for that. That's good.
Does he still have tanks?
In combination. Okay, does he have enough damage here?
Yeah,
I don't-
5 tanks.
That was close. He only got 1 Broodlord. Was almost good enough to get 2 or 3. That's most of the energy on the Raven, so now he needs to slow down the
Right.
pace a little bit.
He needs to restart, unfortunately, which luckily for him, Bly isn't really taking advantage of the lack of Raven energy because it is a hard call for Zergs to make. I don't think they just are like, oh, time to move in, because then they're like oracles, you know? You think they don't have any energy, and then you move in, and they just have like enough to kill all your Marines. But
Freaking oracles.
these tanks actually like serious issue of supply. Anytime that he's maxed out, he has 5 tanks not doing anything, and they also probably just should be over here helping a little bit. They can target fire infestors, and they can help if ultras ever move in, or taking the right base. Gosh darn it!
Gosh darn it.
Gosh darn, making me curse.
Now we've got 2 more nukes. Okay, so it's happening again. Let's go. Some more nukes.
More.
More nukes.
I love nukes.
Nukes are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially after 39 minutes. I hope somebody is counting the number of nukes, but I guess there will still be like a Maru or TY game that will have more nukes than this one. Interesting run by, but the Liberator and the tank make it a little bit easier
Nice.
for this counter to be defended. Okay, now
This is
Ghost
where
actually
you-
using the right click, which
you want-
doesn't happen that much.
Marauders and tanks for that, I think, more so. That's a bit dangerous. But the Ultras were not stopped. Maybe if 2 tanks are over there. Huh. And there's also a Liberator that's not doing too much as well. It's not doing too much, the Ultra, that is. If it grabs a Ghost Academy, that's something. But just now grabbing
They were there
Marines,
to kill 3 depots. That was
Yes.
the mission.
That did not even supply
Let's go!
block.
What?
No?
Oh,
that's
that works!
I mean, it works. I wasn't questioning now. I was just wondering if that's really worth the energy.
I liked it.
I guess if nothing else happens, then the next minute doesn't matter.
25 ghosts now, which is a pretty decent
where are
number.
they
Oh,
going?
he will try to be cheeky. There's a spore on the top. He knows about. Oh, he sees the Viper.
Nicely
Good job.
done. Yeah,
Okay.
he is seen.
Let's see the resources lost once again to see how did it. It's still.
It's bridging a little, maybe? I don't actually remember exactly what it was before.
I think it was like 12,000 more.
Maybe you're right.
This is
yeah.
so dangerous.
Oh, that's a lot of
scares
orange
the-
units.
Freaking bejesus out of me.
But the ghosts are not really protected by very much, so they get fungal. They're going to get maybe touched even by like a single baneling, and suddenly snipes aren't available. So they run away, and then when Bly runs away, that's when the ghosts really come out to play. Another one. Why not?
Okay, the snipes will go down on the infestors, and those, they add a lot of energy. A really good pickup here for Kelazur. That's starting to get some work done, right?
Yes, he's starting to get these engagements again, which is really the highlight of his game in minute 12 to 20 or something. Oh, it's a very long game. So now he's going to bring it back to these engagements that are going okay for him, and he's trading up very well on. But he still hasn't expanded, which is, I think, going to become a problem, as once again, low on gas. He should have a gas bank. At any point in time, he should have a gas bank of at least like 1,000, I want to say, in such a late game to feel very comfortable.
On the side of Bly, nothing but resources. 10k,
Yeah.
7.5k gas. Nuke will land on the spores. Bly wasn't really looking, so didn't get the opportunity to move those back. On top right, we've got 3 Marines.
Yeah,
Get it, Hatchery! And
Took him
now the spine crawls. Poke!
took him a while, but he did get rid of all those Marines.
Okay, he does not have any Marines. Oh, he just made 5 more.
Oops.
Like, I like those 5 guys, you know.
Okay.
But the number of Raven is starting to be a little dangerous. But why would you clump those so hard? If he gets fungal, what happens?
Well, if a parasitic bomb comes down with it, then bad things happen.
Yes, terrible things.
It's just a fungal. He might be able to escape.
Okay.
Move him. No, no.
He
Move him.
brings the other Raven. Oh my God, that's like 5 Ravens.
Yeah, that was an effective trade there.
That was exactly 5
And
Ravens.
Kelazur is still pushing this whole, like, okay, taking on the army, we're starting to applaud him a little bit, like, okay, great, clear up the creep spread, clear up the spore crawlers, take on the army. But he seems to be doing it just to take this base.
Okay.
But there's another base you could take, kind of for free.
Okay.
Sniping the corruptors, I think.
Yeah, pretty decent. Just remember, guys, it is the last game of Ukraine against Brazil.
Yes.
Either of those 2 players, if they lose, their team is just gone. It's out of the tournament. So obviously, it will go as long as it has to, right? Like in Fight Club, exactly. So, well, until there's no resources left, I think is also a pretty decent point. And we're getting close to that.
Yeah.
But there's still 1 base that's left untouched.
Oh, it's so excited until you realize that these missiles individually do not do a lot of damage.
They don't.
You really need a ton of them to kill the Broodlords, which he's now setting out more. It's not going to happen. They're actually on the Queens. We officially hit the timer for an hour in Heart of the Swarm. That's why that third one pops up. Yeah.
So an hour was 43 minutes.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was like 1.3 or something faster. And they
Never made sense to me.
They never fixed this one. Well, it does make sense. You want to know the history of that? When we watch Ravens almost died of parasitic bombs?
Yes, tell me.
Originally, they weren't going to use faster as the standard for Brood War games. But then the environment, the community made it faster. So normal is normal time.
Yeah, okay. And they made it different for Legacy of the Void.
Right. So they were like, we should get rid of this relic, but they didn't get rid of this hour relic on the timer.
That's great. It's cool. It's good. You know, you gotta remember about those things. You know.
I do like my StarCraft history, and you know, every time Blizzard fixes one of these things, I get less of an opportunity to talk about it.
Oh, that's a little sad.
Yeah. So I do like how Kelazur used his Marines. I mean, obviously he has minerals, so Marines are good to use, and he is clearing up bases.
Yeah, he is. But he needs to take that base on the right side. It was, well, those Broodlords, they are clumped up this time. Oh my God!
So many anti-armor missiles that finally are able to kill Broodlord. Still don't kill all of them. Bly still has quite the bank and is now even thinking about how much bank am I taking away from Kelazur. So the answer is still a large amount. He has not really ever gotten this base, and I don't know what the deal is with this 2 o'clock base. No one's bothered taking it.
Agreements. We never take it, guy. Okay? Yeah. We make it an uneven number of base. Is that okay with you?
It's the DMZ. Okay. No one goes there.
It's the DMZ, exactly.
Oh, boy.
All right. So, slowly but surely, I think Kelazur is winning this game. I mean, he has this crazy amount of Ravens.
Yeah.
We've seen that missile can be quite good, especially considering now that they hit their targets, which used to not be the case. Now it's happening. Those missiles, they always do the job. It's interesting that he really looks like he wants another base. He just doesn't want to wait for his opponent to attack into him. He wants another base, and he goes for this one, but it's clearly not the easiest one to get. It's interesting.
Yeah, this is not the last desperate base. There's one other, at least. Oh, well. Anti-armor missile is very good for clearing out Lings, but you do want to look for those bigger priority targets like the Broodlords. I do think I'm agreeing with you that Kelazur is winning this. Just every trade is going in his favor well enough that now he's depleted Bly's bank, and he has also stopped Bly from at least getting a totally fresh new base in the top right. But it is still a very scary game because Kelazur is not taking the most amazing fights that I'm just like laughing at how good Ravens are. He's also not expanding so much that I'm laughing at how much money he has.
No, he's depleting the Bly's mineral bank by quite a bit.
Yes.
Now we see an orbital, well, at least a command center, that's being produced next to this base, Jess.
He could use it.
He could suddenly use this base. But Ravens, yeah, you can laugh at those. They are really good. They are really, 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 really good.
The tank's in the middle of the map and the Liberators help out. Well, now it's dead. You did something, tank.
GG.
This one too. You tried. Not much to talk about here, though, to be honest. I think getting rid of the tanks in some ways can be a good thing, but if you're rid of orbitals, that is something to talk about.
Leave those orbitals.
Well, I know.
Leave those orbitals.
Those are good.
Really good play. Really good play from Bly. That didn't cost him that much. Gets a couple of tanks. Has got a million changelings in the middle of the army. Oh, Bly. Bly gets a nice parasitic bomb.
Move it. Move it. No, there's another one. Oh,
good
wow.
Good job. That was good. That was good. That was close enough. That was fast enough, I would say.
Kelazur. That's
oh, my God.
Not the quickest on these. He is, I guess we haven't really noted, but he's been repairing them every single time. Yeah. He has SCVs, just they're kind of hidden. And they've been going to work, but he doesn't have a lot of minerals and gas to repair. So we should consider every time he takes damage but doesn't lose Ravens that he is losing on a very limited bank.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the same time, Bly's mineral bank, quite, well, still not too bad, but depleting from the 10K that he had a couple of minutes ago. Now, Kelazur will get the base on the right side. Those SCVs, they just, literally walking on creep. Like, yeah, it's okay, guys. It's good. Clearing a bird zergling with a turret and a liberator. That's quite fancy, I would say.
Looks like a lot of parasite bombs went down.
Yep. And went back for a... We had 20 Ravens. Now it's 13.
Uh-oh.
But he already had to repair a little bit. Does he have the amazing number of mules that he had before?
Oh, this is nice. This is a lot of Lings to lose. They, wait 30 seconds and they might find that base turning into a planetary and it's an easy kill as Cracklings, but instead went into a marine slaughter.
Okay, we're looking at 9 mules in this base. 11 now. That's good for Kelazur.
He could even clear up the creep here and take another base. Wowzers.
Amazing.
Whoa. That would be so good for Kelazur, actually. Where Bly didn't have to worry about money for most of this game.
Now it's happening.
He really does have to worry, and he really is going to wish that he had mined out the top right as a priority once Kelazur, once he realizes Kelazur can still replace things. I'm sure at most points in this game, Bly's like, well, surely he can't replace 5 Ravens. Like, surely he can't replace the army, and then he just barely can with one base at a time.
Yeah, the only thing he needs to destroy here is just basically those gas-intensive units, because as you can see, 35 gas on the side of Kelazur. I think all of his extractors are just depleted at the moment, so he's not mining anything.
No, it doesn't cancel a nuke. I think.
No.
Does he think that cancels a nuke?
Bly will get it in his face. He will lose everything. The nuke lands on the Broodlord. 70 supply that just went down the toilet here. And Bly, after microing for 49 minutes and leaving on the edge, well, you know, got a nuke up his ass.
His initial response every time he sees a nuke is it's a fungal.
Take him out,
Well, it's a fungal initially. That's the last time that there's almost a nuke on his army. He fungled it, and then he is able to send units. And I just was like, I feel like it's his typical reaction to Ghosts. Like, he knows it won't cancel it, but it's just his reaction. And then he realizes too late that he needs to actually kill the damn thing.
They usually, connected it to, I get the vision with the fungal, and then I get the Broodlords to just take him out. But the Broodlords, they were too far away. So they just got closer to the nuke, didn't cancel it, but he was living on the edge. Like, he did it at least 5 or 6 times in this game. Yeah. And as it was normal that he lost 25 drones by going for a 530 hive in that first game, now he gets a nuke in his face, and that's also quite logical.
That is so bad. I mean, if this was a nuke like that 20 minutes ago, we just are like, well, he's got a bank. It'll be fine. This is a point in time where he does not have a bank. He doesn't even have enough drones to fully saturate a base, base and a half even, and this is him slowly falling apart to Kelazur, who at so many points in this game looked like he was going to die because of his lack of economy, and now is winning in the income.
I'm not sure I really like those Marines, but I do understand where he's coming from, right? Like, he's just got 1 million minerals because of the mules that he sent up that 2 o'clock base. But, okay, parasitic bomb. Let's see the splits.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're late because they were fungled, but last second, loses 3-4. Almost lost all of them.
Yeah, that was close. That was close enough. I can't remember what I was saying. Oh, yeah, those Marines. But it's just like, for now, yeah, minerals seems pretty okay for him. But it could, super fast, it could go bad once again for Kelazur. Like, he will mine everything from this base quite fast. And if the fight comes into, let's get that top right base, this is cute. That is cute.
Oh, I tried. It didn't quite work out. Cool points,
See, that's how you kill a ghost.
Cool points.
Not by going super YOLO on it.
Wait. Oh, no, never mind. I thought I knew a parasite one of them. I thought I saw an Ed missile going towards the Ravens. Whew.
Pew.
All right. Bly is starting to look a little desperate to take a good fight. Now, Kelazur still doesn't have a very big gas bank, as he really is only mining off of 2 refineries at any point in time.
Yes.
But he is taking good fights. I guess he's out of nukes now, too, so Bly's not worried about that for a while.
At some point, nukes start to be a little bit expensive. And yes, Kelazur will go for that top right base, which actually, well, I'm a little concerned that Bly just doesn't go for it for any kind of fight. Like, he's not doing anything for just about, I don't know, like 10 minutes now?
he went with the slow and steady approach, which Kelazur was apparently fine with for the last 3 minutes of this game. Really nice anti-armor missiles, gets a lot of those Broodlords, which Bly just cannot replace easily.
Yeah, now he's just building infestors because he knows he has a gas bank, but nothing in terms of minerals, so he's just going to go for like heavily skewed in favor of gas units, infestors, vipers, if he can get the combos going. And obviously, it might be good for him, but it's not happening for now, and he obviously cannot take any other nuke like the one he took just before. And in the top right, we'll see another base soon-ish for Kelazur. Yes, the orbital has been used, and now I do believe that just Bly needs to switch gears and just go to the top right and fight there, because if he keeps just waiting, well, he will wait until he has nothing and he will lose.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 15 minutes too late, but there should have maybe been a time where Bly was like, okay, clearly I'm not breaking him. He's not really breaking me either, but he is taking better trades. So I should just start moving around the map. He really kind of stopped doing that, only did Ling run-bys or Ultra run-bys. It's when the Terran has to move and kind of like control their control groups while a billion things are going on that you see the mistakes with Ghosts and Ravens. Because even with the stationary attacks, Kelazur has been messing up to splitting his Ravens. Imagine if he was moving across the map and trying to defend bases. That might have been even worse. But it's too late, I think. Like, Kelazur might not have a gas bank, but he is maxed, and Bly is not. So
And that's going to be a tough one for Bly. And as we know, he doesn't like to tap out early. So it might take a little bit more time. Maybe we can reach the hour game here between Bly and Kalazur. But remember, it is tough for Ukraine because it could be the end of their tournament here in the loser side of this group. Poland, for now, Finland is already qualified. And the winner of this will go to face against the Polish players that were defeated in the winner's match.
Yeah.
Another nuke. Cheeky,
I'm
cheeky.
going to help clear up the spore crawlers.
If Bly is a good sport, just takes the nuke.
Yeah, makes
like,
an explosive ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Having trouble dealing even with the Marines. If he sends the Infestors up here, there's a chance that one or two of them dies every time just because some Marines walk through the fungal. But on the nuke, he doesn't even get the spore crawlers, just gets the creep tumors. That's what I'm talking about. Like, even with a bunch of fungals, there might be an Infestor that dies, which would be a good enough trade.
Oh! The last Marine.
Yeah.
Get taken down by a drone, though. Stuff that happens. You're a 2-hit point Marine. Even with one
goodbye
straight
Queens.
sack.
No, not quite.
Okay, the Marines lead the charge. The Ghost and Infestor and Ravens are a little bit out of position. Or those missiles, they will connect quite good here. And that's the Queens that are taking a massive amount of damage. Nice splits from Kalazur, reacting pretty proper.
The Vipers are killing themselves to do this too, so
yeah,
very nice.
Okay, we're looking at 109 supply now for Bly. 89 in the army. Whoa.
Whoa, wait a second. The Ravens just disappeared.
In the bottom right, there was one more parasitic bomb that we didn't see, and that's most of the Ravens that just died.
Yes. He did start to have a bit of a gas bank, though, so he is remaking them.
Yep.
But that was not supposed to happen.
Nope.
Oops.
And he's building a lot of Marines. This game is definitely going to go for an hour.
It is. 4 more minutes. I think it's going to happen. Thing is, if he does have Medivacs and Marines, the concave, I guess they can also take on this army, just with the severe army disparity. 1 anti-armor missile, a couple of snipes, and a ton of Marines. I guess it's a good enough army against what Bly's got.
Why not? Do we see an abduct? That would have been cool. The Viper was able to just go 360.
Now the Planetary is going to be here to help.
Yep. He's got a couple of Liberators down there as well. Gonna try to get a snipe on those the Viper. Oh my God!
Whoa.
Every single ghost gets caught here. The Ultralisk melee range gets all the ghosts. Is that even happening? The fungal on the Ravens and the infested Terrans getting 3 of them.
Okay,
this is
killing
so
all
sick.
the ghosts is pretty good.
8 ghosts, 3 Ravens.
But he still has an army, and he still has a bio army too. And this is a point in the game where, like, it's not good enough that Bly has a late game composition and that he doesn't have a lot of numbers for it. So, again, if there's a huge concave or surround of just a bio Liberator or bio Ghost, that, you know, they might not need the Ravens, they might not need the Ghosts.
There's a lot of 3/3 Broodlords though.
Oh, I agree. Like, I think he needs something besides just bio. But I think that if he loses, he loses the Ghost again, that could be game.
Oh my
right
God,
now,
my
it's
God.
still not.
This can and the Liberators,
Oh,
they get
gosh.
all the Infestors, but the Infested Terran, they get the base, they get the SCV, they get 3 or 4 Liberators. I can't believe what I'm watching right now.
It's getting quite close. Kalazur has
is
2200
crazy
minerals,
close.
though, and he can put it a lot into the bio again. He does have just enough of those tier 3 units, the Ghost, the Ravens, that their support will mean a lot. And I'm pretty sure Kalazur still got it, but man, he's making it so close. As soon as Bly moved the position, as soon as Kalazur had to refigure out, like, you know, how do I want to stage this stalemate, that's when he lost control of his units, got the fungal. And now he is in a bit more of a desperate scenario, but I don't know if it's desperate enough.
Okay, the missile, they will land once again, but nice splits from Bly, not losing a single Broodlords, keeping a couple of Queens alive, so transfuses are in play. And now I guess, well, Bly doesn't really have the money for it. He has 1 hatchery
He's taking
with 7 drones, but he's taking the wrong base, in my opinion.
That could easily be nuked, or even just harassed from the bottom, low ground, rather. So
He doesn't have any
that's going to be
nukes
scary.
available. Okay, let's see. Does he have energy? Okay.
Yeah, he can't even
Like,
afford
losing
it.
those Infestors, getting the base top right was so important, but he lost
Yes.
like 5 or 6 Infestors. If he keeps those...
It is interesting, though, because Kalazur just has no mining on gas at all. Well, no mining. But I was talking mostly about gas. So he is depending on whatever bank was left over to build enough Marines. And this is where things have to be quite perfect. You have to have an okay number of anti-armor missiles, maybe some snipes, and a very good concave of bio. And Kelozer's army does take it. But anything less, the Ravens all die, the Ghosts all die, then it might not be good enough. So this is close.
Bly needs to get as many infestors as he can with the low amount of minerals he will be able to mine with 4 drones. Well, actually, he's going to get those snipes. Okay, that's 2 Broodlords. That's really good.
It is.
It is so good.
I think the army is just too big in general, I think.
Yeah. Now it's looking more and more grim, I think.
Yeah.
How many
even without these freebies, even this as well, you know, a fight was happening.
You're right.
I wonder. This really just is going to be it's definitely not a move for either person. You're not going to potentially throw away an hour-long game because you're like, I have this, but it's like almost close to that point for Kelozer.
Maybe taking this base was not the best idea of all time.
Yeah, you should have taken the top right.
Yeah,
and then stayed here. You know,
way more minerals and not as good as a position that Bly can Kelozer can abuse it with Ghost, and now he just lost 2 Vipers. But just a parasitic bomb. That will not even kill that Raven, I believe. No, it will not. Massive fungal on Marines, but that's not enough. And now, I think, after an hour and 1 minute of game, I think we're looking at a 1 game for Kelozer. Now it's looking more and more like this.
This is quite silly that he can't reach. But he's just, it's fishing for 1 Ghost, 1 Raven at a time. He is down a third of the army supply. Going to be down even lower. His energy will win out here on the side of Kelozer.
Yeah, more energy units on the side of Kelozer. And a slightly bigger bank at the end with 76 Marines available for Kelozer. It's impressive that he keeps, he remains calm after an hour-long game. Gonna get just, quick, cheeky auto turret, couple of scans, up. I will snipe a drone.
He'll get the Overseers.
I'll snipe an infestor if I can. No, get fungal.
He got the one with the surveillance mode on. He's going to get the last... no, there's 2. There's 3 in total. Oh, okay.
Yeah, even building...
It's the long con.
Building an Overseer is going to be so tough.
He can't, so if he killed all of them, it'd be good to go.
So sick that Bly just keeps on going. He's like, no!
He's playing so safe. He's like, what if there's 4 Ultras that I don't see? What if there's 5 Infestors burrowed? But his army supply is just so far ahead, and these Broodlords really don't have the support. If the Fungals would have to be perfect, like in a big concave, perfect every single way. And even then, you can walk through a Fungal now.
40 Ravens, 50 Ghosts, 37 Infestors, and 15 Vipers died in this game. 53 Broodlords.
Wow.
28 Ultralisk. It's so sick.
Oh, this game started off so well for Bly, too. Those mutas just reminded me of how the game even started.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing with hour-long games. After you think about how it started. And,
another Infestor.
That amazing start from Bly and this amazing Broodlord timing that almost worked. And now you get a Fungal. I get 5 anti-armor missile going on the army. And now it's time to show the Marines.
Yeah, I think so.
Where are the Marines?
They have an anti-armor missile. The Infestors are mostly out of juice. The Marines will come forward and sim and actually win this game. But he is being very hesitant. He doesn't want to go. No, he is going to go.
It's time.
It's time.
Let's do this. And the Marines from Kelozer, they will try to get that last fight going, qualifying for the Deciders match. All the Broodlords, they are not enough. They are no match for the Marines from the Brazilian player, GG. Brazil takes it. And we'll have to face against Poland, sorry.
There we go, Poland, of course. Finland already advanced out of the group, and now Brazil has another chance. That's all that was another chance to get out of the group.
Yeah.
They still have to face Poland, and that's going to be even tougher than that last game, perhaps.
That will be. So an hour-long game.
What a game! 1 hour and almost 4 minutes. It was so intense. I was like, oh my god, what's happening here? And wow, and Kelozer at least take the win here and qualifiers for the Deciders match. And I was just thinking about Elazer's 5 a.m. Korea. And
yeah. Oh, this has already delayed the engagement by a little bit.
So interestingly enough, this is a clip from 16 minutes in.
This was.
So how many clips did you guys take? Is the question I'm wondering.
I don't think this was the
So
very.
apparently this is an hour-long segment.
Yes.
To describe everything that happened in this game, Jess.
Right, this wasn't even like, there were so many other things that happened, right? There was the Mutas did so much damage, and then there was the first late game fight where the Broodlords did not look as good as they should have. That was the second or third one, I think. And then the counter that Kelzer tried to take advantage of. This was such a high action moment. I was like, oh my god, it's going to end right here, right now. And then the game that was when it kind of slumped and got a little bit more peaceful. Obviously the base, it was a question of who can take bases and can the energy work out for the Terran player, which ultimately it did, but it took another 40 minutes.
No, but I don't think there is that much to be said, like precisely in terms of game plan, even though those fungals were amazing, but there were just a little bit too much healing power, and Ghost have a pretty decent number of HP as well. But it's just
so many Ghosts died.
They
played
played until the end, Jess. You know, they went super all in this game. So maybe it's a problem for Kalazur that will now have to play again against Poland, because he did give a lot of, you know, energy and resources in this game as well.
He just kept on throwing units over here too.
Yeah.
Yeah. 9 Ghosts went down, but all the rest of the Zergon army went down. Yeah, Kalazur is going to be super tired for this next series. That is a very important thing to note. It's an okay time, it's an okay time. I'm not 100% sure about that. But it was a very long game.
When's the
tiring. We're going to see the nuke after this. Come on.
That's probably the clip just after that. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. He gets the fungal. Oh my god. I kind of missed the fungal. But yeah, that was an amazing engagement.
All right. Yeah, an hour long game. Qualification for Brazil. Amazing plays. Do we need to add anything to it? We want to see against Poland now.
What is the longest game you've ever seen during Nation Wars?
Nation Wars?
There we go.
I think Nation Wars 2, it was Snoot versus... I never really remember his name. A Russian Protoss.
Bratok? No.
Russian Protoss from back then. I think it was like an hour and a half long. It was almost everywhere.
Not even that long.
And I do remember, I think it was day 9 and TB casting, and they ended up just freaking saying anything but something about the game, right? They just went mental.
I'm glad you specified Nation Wars, though, because I was like, oh, the longest game in StarCraft. Oh, no.
Yeah, I tried to Google it. And
it might be Nation Wars, actually.
It said, no, 5 hours.
No, but I don't mean in general, but... sorry.
Yeah.
Continue, sorry.
Yeah, so in general, overall, I've seen 5 hours, something like that.
There was a pretty infamous game on Habitation Station, right, where you had the Terran army surrounded by ravens that was floating in the north.
It's that game.
It might have been that one. Personally, I've made pancakes during 3-hour games, so...
Really?
Yeah, there was seriously a game where nothing was happening, and I went downstairs and made pancakes, and then I showed it on stream, the batter mixing. My mom was like, what are you doing? And I was like,
I'm making
nothing.
pancakes.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, well, it's late enough, and now we'll have Brazil against Poland.
I guess we're even a little bit tired, so...
Throw it to break.
How can Kalazur feel?
Yeah, well, you can start vote now, I guess. POL for Poland.
BRA for Brazil.
For Brazil, I'm just out of words. I was waiting, and it was so intense. I guess you guys must be so tired.
No,
after
just
that
excited,
kind of game.
Yeah. And now it's just okay, those guys, they fought to have a chance to play against Poland. So why just, talking and stuff like that, let's get this game going, right?
Okay, let's go. And one of these nations will qualify for the round of 8. So stay tuned in and see you in 5 minutes.